Chapter 125. You should know that I am not from the Lin continent. I live in a continent that is one level higher than this. Once you reach the divine rank, you can go there. Feng Zhixing saw that Sima Yue was in a daze and thought that she was just curious about where it was. Only divine ranks can go there? Yes, above Spirit Paragon is divine rank. Those who have just entered divine rank are at the bottom of the hierarchy. So if you are not divine rank, you must not go there. Feng Zhixing said, Master, you know my parents, right? Are they there too? Sima Yue suddenly asked. Feng Zhixing was stunned and asked, What did you say? Did Sima Lai already tell her about her background? You don't have to hide it from me. I already guessed it. Sima Yue said, I am not a child of the Sima family. My parents are also not from the Dongqin kingdom. Do Grandpa and the others know? Feng Zhixing asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I only guessed it myself. I did not ask them. Master, you know about my background, right? Feng Zhixing looked at Sima Yue for a while and sighed, saying, Since you guessed it, I will tell you. You are indeed not a child of the Sima family. I also know your father. Sima Yue was not surprised because this was also something that she had guessed. Master, then do you know? Sima Yue stopped halfway and did not finish her sentence. You want to ask, why did they put you here? Feng Zhixing asked. Sima Yue nodded. Actually, this was also for the original body. Actually, they did not want to do this. It was just that the situation at that time was too complicated. Feng Zhixing sighed and continued, It is not convenient for me to tell you these things now. You only need to know that they did not want to put you here. They also had their own difficulties. As long as they do not want me, I will not hate them. Sima Yue said. Hearing her words, Feng Zhixing felt very gratified. Master, are you good friends with my parents? Sima Yue asked. Feng Zhixing smiled faintly and said, Yes, I am good friends with your parents. Your father and I have known each other since we were young, and we grew up together. We were young and frivolous, and we always wanted to see who had better talent. Our relationship wasn't good, but later on, we realized that both of us had grown up while we were chasing each other. Our unhappy past became memories of each other. Sima Yue, you could almost see the scene of the two youths chasing after each other as they grew up. Then what about my mother? Your mother? Feng Zhixing's eyes flashed with a trace of bitterness. She is very beautiful. Yes, she is not very kind, but she is very passionate about the people she recognizes. You are quite similar to your mother in this aspect. My father and mother, where are they now? Sima Yue asked. They are now in a place where ordinary people cannot go. Feng Zhixing said, It is not that they do not want to come and see you, but they cannot come. They cannot come? If you can come, why can't they? Sima Yue asked. Their situation is not very good right now. Originally, you could not cultivate, so I should not tell you these things. But now, not only can you cultivate, you have even become an alchemist. In the future, you may even become an array master. That is why I can tell you these things. I hope that you can grow quickly. When you go there, you will know more things. Feng Zhixing said. Actually, he originally came here to detoxify Sima Yue. He did not expect that when he came, she was already able to cultivate. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing. He said it very vaguely, but she felt that something big seemed to have happened to her parents. When they sent her here, they did not even come to see her until now. I will work hard to cultivate. Yue, remember, with absolute strength, you will have the absolute right to speak. Only then can you do what you want to do. Do you understand? Feng Zhixing said meaningfully. I understand, Master. Sima Yue answered seriously. She understood this principle very early on. Feng Zhixing looked at Sima Yue with gratification. Her talent was better than those geniuses above, but she was quite reasonable. She did not have the arrogance and wildness of those people. With a thought, a box appeared in front of him. He said, These are some one-time teleportation arrays. Open them and they will be sent to a random place. If you are trapped in the future, you can use them to escape. Thank you, Master. Sima Yue did not stand on ceremony and accepted the box. Also, I plan to leave a mark on your body. As for its use, you will know in the future. Come here. Sima Yue walked over. Feng Zhixing asked her to sit on the seat and then stood behind her. Sima Yue did not know how Feng Zhixing did it, but suddenly, she felt a faint little person appear in her mind. That person looked exactly like Feng Zhixing. Done. Feng Zhixing's voice came from behind. It carried a trace of fatigue. Sima Yue stood up and looked back. Seeing that Feng Zhixing's face was a bit pale, she asked, "Master, are you okay?" Feng Zhixing waved his hand and said, "I'm fine. It's just that a strand of consciousness is a bit tired. I will be fine after some rest." "Thank you, Master." Sima Yue knew that this strand of consciousness was definitely harmful to the body, but he did not hesitate to sit down. She would always remember this favor in her heart. Also, if you go to the primordial lands and encounter any difficulties in the lower or middle levels, you can use this jade pendant to seek help from the Fengyu auction house. They will help you unconditionally. With that, Feng Zhixing took out a jade pendant and handed it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and said solemnly, "Master, don't worry. I will cultivate well and go to the primordial lands to look for you guys." "Okay, I believe in you." Feng Zhixing patted Sima Yue's shoulder. "Go back. I will leave after talking to the principal." Sima Yue nodded and turned to leave the room. Feng Zhixing rested inside for half a day. The light in the room gradually dimmed. He felt a bit better and got up to leave. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Sima Yue waiting for him outside. "Yue?" He looked at Sima Yue in surprise. "I want to send Master off. I want to see Master leave." Sima Yue said. She knew that Feng Zhixing needed time to recover, so she kept waiting at the door. Feng Zhixing looked at her emotionally. He originally wanted to leave quietly by himself, but now it seemed that it was impossible. "If that's the case, then let's go together," Feng Zhixing said and turned to leave. Sima Yue hurriedly followed him. The two of them came to a small courtyard in the school. This was where the principal lived. When he heard that Feng Zhixing was leaving, the old principal was not too surprised. He always knew that Feng Zhixing would leave sooner or later. After a simple farewell, Sima Yue and Feng Zhixing went to the mountain behind the school. "I'm leaving. I look forward to our next meeting. I think you will give me a surprise." Feng Zhixing patted Sima Yue's head. "Master, take care." Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and said. Feng Zhixing nodded and let go of her head. He formed a seal with his hands and a passage appeared behind him. He smiled at Sima Yue and turned to enter the space passage. Chapter 126. Sima Yue watched as Feng Zhixing left and the tunnel slowly closed. She knew that if she followed him, she would be able to see the world on the other side of the tunnel and find out the truth about why she was sent here. But she didn't move, because she knew clearly that with her current strength, going there would be suicide. She clenched her fists and swore to herself that she would go to the primordial lands and uncover the truth that Feng Zhixing didn't tell her. The night wind blew gently. She stood at the top of the mountain, letting the wind blow her hair into a mess. She stayed at the top of the mountain for a while. After she calmed down, she went down the mountain and returned to her dormitory. Fatty Chu just happened to come out from his room. When he saw her, he asked, "Yue, what did Teacher Feng ask you to do? Why are you back so late?" Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu, shook her head and went back into the house. "What's wrong with this guy? You look so disappointed." Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue's door in confusion. The next day, when the students of Class A went to class, it was originally Feng Zhixing's class, but another teacher walked in. "Teacher Feng has left the academy due to some matters. From today on, I will be your instructor. My name is Ling Ping. If you have any questions, come to me after class. You have 1 minute to laugh at this news, and then we will start the class." After Ling Ping finished, he lowered his head and opened his book. The entire class was in an uproar. Other than Sima Yue, everyone else was caught off guard. Ouyang Fei and the other three looked at Sima Yue and saw her lying on the table listlessly. There was no surprise on her face, and they knew that she must have known about it. "Yesterday, did you go to bid farewell to Teacher Feng?" Bei Gongtang asked. "Yes, Master said that he had something to do at home and left. Sima Yue sat up and said, Bei Gong Tang and the others all knew that Sima Yue called Feng Zhixing master, so it was reasonable for him to ask her to bid farewell. Since you're leaving for some matters, we'll meet again in the future. Bei Gong Tang said after a moment of silence. Sima Yue turned to look at Bei Gong Tang in shock. This was the first time she had taken the initiative to comfort someone. Yes, I know. Sima Yue said, but it's too sudden. I need some time to digest it. Thank you, I'm fine. Sima Yue patted her face and forced a smile. After a minute, Ling Ping raised his head and said, let's start today's class. After class, Sima Yue and her friends walked towards the dormitory. Yu, do you know why Teacher Di Feng wants to leave? No mistake. Fatty Chu asked as he walked beside her. Sima Yue recalled what Feng Zhixing had said before he left, that it was about the Sage Pavilion. However, she knew that this was a serious matter, so she shook her head and said, he didn't say anything specific. He only said that something happened to his clan and he was urgently summoned back. Then, will he come back? Wei Ziqi asked. I don't think so. Sima Yue said, but Master said that we can look for him when we go to the primordial lands. Hearing about the primordial lands, Bei Gong Tang's body stiffened. Although it wasn't obvious, it didn't escape Sima Yue's eyes. Primordial lands? Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue. Aren't we in the Yi-Lin continent? Could it be that Teacher Feng is not from here? Sima Yue said, we are in the Yi-Lin continent. The primordial lands are one level higher. It is said that the environment in that continent is much better than here. The level is also much higher. Master told me that I can't go to the primordial lands before I reach the God level. God level? Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi were quite surprised. Their eyes were wide open. Yes, above Spirit Paragon is the God level. Once you reach the God level, you can go to the primordial lands. Sima Yue said. But none of us here have reached Spirit Paragon, much less the God level. Fatty Chu said. No, it's not that there aren't any Spirit Paragons in the Yi-Lin continent. It's just that they aren't here. Ouyang Fei said. Ouyang, how do you know? Wei Ziqi asked. Because I've seen it before. Ouyang Fei said. You've seen it before? How come I've never heard of Dongchen country having a Spirit Paragon? Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head. Ouyang Fei is talking about the Yi-Lin continent, not the Dongchen country. Sima Yue said, the Dongchen country is just a barren land in the Yi-Lin continent. It's a place used by other places to exile criminals. What? Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi cried out in surprise, attracting the attention of the people around them. Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi's shocked expressions, then looked at the people around them and said, let's go back to the dorms and talk. When they returned to the dorms, everyone habitually gathered in Sima Yue's room. Fatty Chu did not wait for Sima Yue to speak and asked, Yue, what do you mean when you say that this place is a place of exile? Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei and said, I'm afraid that Ouyang Fei will be able to explain it more clearly than me, right, Ouyang Fei? Ouyang Fei? Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi looked at Ouyang Fei. You know? Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue indifferently. An unnatural expression flashed across his face as he said, there are 5 countries in the Yi-Lin continent. 4 big countries, West Moon Country, Northern Yen Country, South Yu Country, Central Wu Country, and 1 place of exile, the Dongchen Country. As Yue said, this is a place where the 4 big countries exile criminals. Yang Fei, how do you know? Wei Ziqi asked. Because I came here from the outside. Ouyang Fei said, I'm from the South Yu Country. Because of some reasons, I had no choice but to come here. I always thought that this world was only as big as the Dongchen country. I didn't think that this was only the tip of the iceberg. We are just a small part of the Yi-Lin continent. Fatty Chu said. The clans here are usually exiled from the outside world, or they escaped here themselves. Sima Yue said, who knows, there might be a Chu family or a Wei family somewhere outside. Of course, there might also be a Sima family. The Dongchen country is barren and lacking in resources. The cultivation speed is extremely slow, and because of some reasons, the spiritual qi here is thinner than outside. Ouyang Fei said. If it's really like this, why hasn't anyone left? Wei Ziqi did not understand. Because there is a natural barrier here. It's like a cover that covers the Dongqin country. If one is not a spirit saint, there is no way to break through this barrier. But after so many years, how many spirit saints have appeared in the Dongqin country? Over time, this matter was slowly forgotten. Ouyang Fei said, it is also because of this barrier that the spiritual qi here is so thin. There aren't even many spirit fruits or spirit stones that can increase one's cultivation. Don't tell me that apart from cultivating to the spirit saint level, there are no other ways to leave? Fatty Chu said. I believe that there are ways. But even if there are, those who are not strong enough will not be able to leave. Ouyang Fei said. Chapter 127. Because the barrier is on top of the Sophia mountain range. There are many divine beasts there. Even if you have the strength of a spirit saint, you will still have to face hundreds of divine beasts. If you aren't careful, you will lose your life. Ouyang Fei said. Hundreds of divine beasts. Fatty Chu heard himself gasp. How dangerous was the Sophia mountain range? Pu Luo mountain range only had a single full ape divine beast, but Sophia mountain range actually had hundreds of divine beasts. It was no wonder that everyone was surprised. There's a natural barrier and a divine beast outside. No wonder no one has been able to go out. Everyone finally understood. Yu, how do you know that Ouyang knows all this? Bei Gongtang asked. I guessed it, Sima Yue said. You're the smartest, always able to guess it. Fatty Chu said. Ouyang, when did you come to Dongqin? Wei Ziqi asked. Ouyang Fei was silent for a moment, then said, 2 months before the academy's enrollment. Seeing him like this, everyone knew that he had something he couldn't say, so they didn't ask him anymore. It's fine if we didn't know in the past, but now that we know, we must definitely go to the outside world to take a look. Wei Ziqi clenched his fists, his face filled with yearning for the unknown world. Before that, everyone should cultivate properly and increase your own strength. Bei Gongtang said, if there's nothing else, I'm going back to the house. We're going back too. Fatty Chu said, I won't be lazy anymore. As long as I have time, I'll cultivate. I don't believe that we'll be trapped here forever. Wei Ziqi also stood up and said, I'm also going back. The three of them left, leaving Ouyang Fei and Sima Yue behind. How do you know that I am not from the Dongqin kingdom? Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue and asked. I told you, it's just a guess. Sima Yue shrugged. Also, it's my intuition. Ouyang, no matter what you've experienced, at least we're together now. If you want to talk about those things, just tell everyone. If you don't want to talk about it, no one will alienate you or blame you. I know. But some things are better left unknown. Ouyang Fei stood up. I'm going back. Sima Yu watched Ouyang Fei leave and sighed in her heart. It seemed like he and Bei Gongtang were both people who had things on their minds. In addition to his own background, it seemed that in their team, only Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu had a relatively simple environment. Huff! After letting out a long breath, Sima Yu closed the door and flashed into the spirit pearl. Mo of Mo. Why? Sima Yu was stunned as she asked. Also, I finished refining the spirit stone. As Mo Sha spoke, a dark red datura flower bracelet appeared between the two of them. This is... Sima Yue stretched out her hand to touch the necklace. The necklace seemed to have a mind of its own as it put itself on her wrist. It made her fair wrist look exceptionally enchanting. This is a bracelet that I made using the spirit stone and the materials in the spirit pearl. It can be used to house the spirit. Mosha said, aren't you fine in the spirit pearl? Sima Yu asked. Although I can see what's happening outside the spirit pearl, I can't sense the other half of my spirit. Mosha said, if you wear this on your wrist, I can sense it within a certain range. If you meet the other half of my spirit one day, or if you're not far from him, I'll be able to sense it. I see. Sima Yue raised her hand and looked at the bracelet on her wrist. She asked, since this can house your spirit, what about other people's? Mo Sha glanced at her and said, Do you think I'll let other people share this place with me? The meaning in his words was very clear. It was possible, but he wouldn't be willing. If she really put someone's spirit in, they would probably be destroyed before they could even see what was inside. With this, I can also absorb the aura from the golden snake fruit tree. Emosha turned into a black smoke after he finished speaking and entered the bracelet. Sima Yue touched the bracelet and admired it while saying, I don't know how this guy refined it, but it looks pretty good. It's definitely not a normal spirit weapon. Who knows, it might even be a holy weapon or divine weapon. It's so pretty, let's call it the Devil's Snare bracelet. Since Emosha said that he wouldn't refine pills, she went to the cultivation room to cultivate and slowly calmed her emotions. After 2 days, Emosha said that they could start refining pills. Sima Yue took the bracelet and entered the spirit pearl. After 2 days of digestion, Sima Yue's condition had already returned to its initial state and fulfilled Emosha's request. When they arrived at the pill refining room, Little Spirit had already prepared everything they needed as usual. The two of them checked the room and immediately started to refine the pills. With the experience from last time, refining pills this time was even smoother. Sima Yue also understood the amount of spiritual energy needed to refine the 100 Revolutions pill, so although the spiritual energy in her body was empty this time, it wasn't as tiring as last time. All right. Emosha retracted the flame and looked at the exhausted Sima Yue, saying, although the spiritual energy in your body is emptied every time, it's actually good for you. The spiritual energy you absorb will be more condensed and your strength will be more real. It won't be so superficial. I understand. Sima Yue sat on the ground and said with a pale face. Emosha entered the Devil's Snare bracelet in a flash. Sima Yue took out a pill and ate it. Her body recovered a bit of strength before she crawled up from the ground and went to the pill furnace to collect the pills. She put the pills into the jade bottle one by one. In the end, she was stunned. She poured out all the pills that she had just put into the bottle and counted them again to make sure that she didn't count wrongly. Emosha, didn't you say that you can only refine 10 pills at most? How come there are 11 pills this time? Emosha's indifferent voice came from the Devil's Snare bracelet, saying, when I had a physical body, I could refine at least 12 pills at once. 10 pills is a conservative estimate for my spirit state. Sima Yue took out the pills and looked at them happily, including the ones from last time. I have 21 pills. Currently, I only need 18 pills, so there are still 3 pills left. Once I recover my spiritual energy, I'll go out and give them to grandfather and the others so that they can consume them earlier. She put all the 100 Revolutions pills into her spatial ring and sat down cross-legged on the ground to absorb the spiritual energy in the air. At the same time, a group of people passed through the Sophia mountain range and arrived at Dongchen country, heading straight for the capital. If Sima Lai was here, he would definitely recognize that one of them was the one who had injured him. Chapter 128. Third brother, are you sure that they are the trash that were chased out of the Sima family? Simaka asked. Sima Kai rubbed his arm as a trace of haze flashed past his eyes. Not long ago, Sima Lai had left a very deep wound there. Although we haven't seen each other for over 100 years, I won't be mistaken. Sima Kai said, the skill that injured me was my family's raging inferno cut. Sima Lin, who was accompanying them, furrowed his eyebrows and said, third brother is already a second-rank spirit emperor, yet he was still injured by Sima Lai. Could it be that his strength is higher than yours? If at that time they had not secretly learned the raging inferno slash, then how could Sima Lai possibly injure me? Sima Kai said, that's right, the exiled clansmen are not allowed to learn the raging inferno slash. That Sima Lai actually dared to learn it. Once we capture him and bring him back, we must cripple him. Sima Ku gritted his teeth. He hadn't even learned the essence of raging inferno slash, but Sima Lai had already learned it. To be able to use it to injure Sima Kai, he must have already grasped the essence of it. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth. It doesn't matter what you use. Injuries are injuries. Sima Kai said, but there's no need to capture him. He was injured by my spirit pet and definitely won't live for more than 2 days. Just capture those little bastards and bring them back. Another middle-aged woman snorted coldly and said, "What happened back then? We still haven't figured it out, have we? Why did fourth uncle's bloodline flee? Did they flee out of fear of punishment or were they forced to flee? Without seeing them, no one can say for sure." Seventh sister, what do you mean by that? When Sima Ke heard Sima Qing speaking up for Sima Lin, his face darkened as he berated her. Literally. Sima Qing refused to back down and glared at Sima Ku. "All right, stop arguing. Don't forget our main mission this time." Sima Lin said, "Third brother, are you sure there's a golden snake fruit here?" "Big brother, at that time, I was also on the spur of the moment, so I thought of taking a stroll in this land of exile. I didn't expect that I would coincidentally encounter the golden snake fruit ripening. Unfortunately, I was a step too late. When I arrived, the golden snake fruit was already gone. However, I am certain that it is the golden snake fruit." Sima Kai said with certainty. "Great uncle, with the golden snake fruit, will great-grandfather and the others be able to get better?" Sima Yulan asked. As a group of people, she was the only junior. Because of her uniqueness, Sima Lin and the others had brought her along to cross the Sophia mountain range, a dangerous place. "Not necessarily." Sima Lin said, "It's just that the pill master said that if we have the golden snake fruit, your great-grandfather and the others might be able to wake up. Father and the others have already been foolish for so many years. If the golden snake fruit can really cure them, then it wouldn't have been in vain for us to risk our lives in the Sophia mountain range." Sima Qing sighed and said, "We are pressed for time this time. Not only do we have to find the golden snake fruit, we also have to bring fourth uncle's bloodline back." Sima Lin said, "I wonder whose hands this golden snake fruit has fallen into." Sima Ke said, "Although the land of exile isn't big, it isn't small either. Who knows how long it would take to find this?" "I don't think so." Sima Kai said, "The movement of this golden snake fruit ripening is so big, it will definitely attract a lot of people. In the end, it won't be a secret who it will fall into. When the time comes, we will go to the city and ask around. We should be able to find out." "How much longer do we have before we can enter the city?" Sima Qing asked. "Half a day." In the evening, the group of people finally arrived at a city. Because it was already late, everyone found an inn to rest. On the morning of the second day, Sima Ku found the innkeeper and calculated the cost of the room. After that, he took out a few gold coins and placed it in front of the innkeeper, saying, "Innkeeper, do you know a person called Sima Lai? Who doesn't know Sima Lai from the Dongqin Kingdom?" The innkeeper smiled as he kept the gold coins and said, "He is our Dongqin Kingdom's general. Don't tell me that you have been cultivating in the mountains all this time and didn't care about the outside world?" "General? Then where does he live?" The innkeeper believed that these people were definitely cultivating in seclusion. He didn't know why they were looking for Sima Lai, but for the sake of those few gold coins, he still said, "The Sima family is in the imperial capital. It's quite far from here. Dear guests, what are you looking for them for?" Sima Ku glared at the innkeeper. The innkeeper immediately laughed and said that he wouldn't ask any more. "Then do you know who has the golden snake fruit?" "Golden snake fruit? We don't know about this." The innkeeper said. Hearing his words, Sima Lin and the others' faces darkened. The innkeeper saw that they were unhappy and immediately explained, "Dear guests, I really don't know. Not to mention me, even if it's the others, they also don't know." But at that time, there should have been many people fighting for the golden snake fruit. How could no one know who got the golden snake fruit? Sima Kai asked. "Dear guests don't know, but I heard people say that when they were fighting for the golden snake fruit, there were many people and spirit beasts. However, in the end, it was snatched away by someone they didn't know." The innkeeper said. "Someone they didn't know?" "That's right." The innkeeper said, "At that time, there was a huge battle at the Pu Luo mountain range. I heard that all the powerful people have gone, even General Sima has gone. He can be considered as the strongest person in our Dongqin kingdom. However, he still didn't get the golden snake fruit. Didn't you say that he was the strongest? Why didn't he get it? Could it have been taken by a spirit beast?" Sima Qing asked. "No, just as General Sima and that spirit beast were fighting fiercely, Someone came from who knows where and plucked the golden snake fruit from the roots. The innkeeper said, that person was completely wrapped in a cloak. It said that his strength was much higher than the general's. It said that he was already a spirit paragon. I wonder which mountain this old monster came from. Sima Lin and Sima Qing exchanged glances, their eyes filled with suspicion. Did the Dongchun kingdom have an expert like a spirit paragon? Could it be that he came from our side? The golden snake fruit is no longer in the Dongchun kingdom? Sima Ke said. Sima Lin and the others turned to look at Sima Yulan. She shook her head and said confidently, no, I can feel that the golden snake fruit is still here. It's in the Dongchun kingdom. Since we don't know who has it, it'll be troublesome to find it. Sima Qing said worriedly, can we find it within 5 days? Sima Lin and the others fell silent. They originally thought that it would be a simple matter, but because the other party's identity was unknown, it became troublesome. Yulan, you've always been sensitive to treasures. Can you feel where it is? Sima Lin asked. Sima Yulan closed her eyes and tried, saying, I can't. I can only feel the general direction. It's over there. Sima Yulan pointed to a place and the innkeeper said, that's the direction of the imperial capital. Sima Lin glanced at the innkeeper, saying, then let's go to the imperial capital to look for the remaining members of the Sima family. Sima Lai, who had just walked out of his house, seemed to feel something and raised his head to look in the direction of the Sophia mountain range. Chapter 129. After being busy outside for an entire day, Sima Lai returned home in the evening. The feeling of unease in his heart grew even stronger. Butler, where are the young masters now? The butler came in from outside and said, General, the first and second young masters have gone to inspect the businesses in Linqing. The third young master is at home, while the fourth and fifth young masters are at the academy. Go and call them all back. Sima Lai said. The housekeeper looked at Sima Lai in astonishment. Didn't nothing happen today? Why did he suddenly call them back? Now, General? You go now and tell the eldest young master and second young master to rush back overnight. Sima Lai said. The housekeeper saw Sima Lai's serious expression and knew that something big must have happened. He said, this old servant will go now. After the housekeeper left, Sima Lai remained in the house. His heart was restless as he paced back and forth. Soon, the butler returned and said, General, I've already sent people to look for first young master and second young master. They should be back by tomorrow morning. The fourth young master has already returned, but the fifth young master is in seclusion and has not seen her. You haven't seen Yue? Sima Lai asked. When we went there, young Master Chu said that before fifth young master went into seclusion, he said that if she didn't come out, don't call her. It's probably a critical moment, the butler replied. However, they said that she has already been in there for 2 days. She should be coming out soon. Okay, I'll go and take a look tomorrow morning. If fifth young master comes out, then let her come back immediately. Sima Lai said. Yes, General. The butler accepted the order and left. On the morning of the second day, apart from Sima Yu, Sima Yuming, Sima Yuqi, Sima Yuran and Sima Yulu all arrived. Grandfather, why did you suddenly call us back? Sima Yuming asked. That's right. What's so urgent? We still have a few shops that we haven't checked yet. Sima Yuqi said. We have classes today too. Sima Yulu said. Leave the imperial capital immediately and don't come back for a year. Sima Lai said. What? Why? Grandfather? Go out? The four of them were shocked by Sima Lai's words. Even the housekeeper at the side looked at Sima Lai in surprise. In a moment, pack up your things and leave. You are not allowed to return for a year. Sima Lai said. Grandpa, what happened? Why do you want us to leave? Sima Yuran asked. You just have to listen to me. Sima Lai said calmly. Grandfather, if you don't tell us the reason, we won't leave. Sima Yuming said. That's right, Grandfather. If you don't tell us, we won't leave. Sima Yulu said. You guys, don't make me angry. Sima Lai scolded. Grandfather, if you don't tell us the reason, we won't feel at ease even if we leave. Sima Yuran said. Sigh. Sima Lai sighed and said, with your tempers, I'll tell you the reason. Sima Lai told her about his family situation and his own premonition. Grandfather, you're saying that people from the clan might come here? Sima Yuming furrowed his eyebrows. They never thought that they would have this kind of history. I had a very strong feeling yesterday that they might be coming. Sima Lai said, you are the roots of the Sima family, so you have to leave. If something really happens, it can be considered as leaving behind an heir. Grandfather, where's fifth bro? Sima Yuran asked. He's still in the sect, in closed-door cultivation. I've sent someone to inform him. Once he comes out, we'll send him away immediately. Sima Lai said, all right, there's no time to lose. Leave immediately. But grandfather, if those people really come, how can we be at ease leaving you alone at home? Sima Yulu was unwilling to leave and wanted to stay with Sima Lai. Nonsense. Sima Lai suddenly scolded, if they really come from that side, how can you resist them with your power? They can make you unable to move with a single glance. What can you use to resist them? Your life? But they might not come. Sima Yulu lowered his head and said softly, Grandfather, why don't you come with us? Sima Yuran said, I'm a general of the country, how can I leave with you? Sima Lai shook his head, remember, no matter what happens, don't come back. Protecting your life is the most important, understand? Understood, grandfather. All right, I've prepared everything for you. Each of you take an interspatial ring. Let's go. Sima Lai said as he took out 4 interspatial rings. The 4 of them stepped forward, took the interspatial rings and dripped blood on them. Sima Lai brought the 4 of them out. Just as he walked into the courtyard, his body suddenly trembled and he looked at the sky cautiously. They're here. Sima Lai's voice had just fallen when a wave of pressure came from outside the city. You guys leave quickly. Sima Lai pushed Sima Yuming beside him and urged them. You want to run? Too late. An impudent voice sounded, shocking the entire capital. Sima Lai leapt up and appeared in the air above the general's residence. Seeing a group of people flying towards him, his face was unprecedentedly solemn. Feeling the arrival of a strong person, the people of the capital all stopped and looked around. Swish, swish, 2 silhouettes flashed into the air. It was the old principal and a guardian of the royal family. Seeing Sima Lai, the old principal flew over and asked, what happened? The aura of 3 spirit saints and a spirit overlord. For you. Sima Lai glanced at the old principal and said, this is my Sima family's matter. You and Elder Huang don't have to get involved. Elder Huang naturally did not want to get involved. Hearing Sima Lai's words, he stood far away. Lai, Sima Lai took out a ring and said, I'll have to trouble you to pass this to you. You must not let her come out. You can go back. The old principal took the ring and flew to the side. However, he did not leave. Instead, he observed the situation from afar. Sima Lin brought Sima Kai and the others and quickly arrived in the sky above the capital. Seeing Sima Lai, Sima Kai was shocked and blurted out, you actually didn't die. Sima Lin, Sima Kai and Sima Qing, the 3 spirit saints and Sima Ku, the spirit overlord, lowered their heads and looked at Sima Yuming and the other 3 in the courtyard. Their hearts flashed with determination. Sima Lai, that year when you fled, the clan used so much energy but was unable to catch you. Who would have thought that you would actually hide here? Sima Ku looked at Sima Lai and his eyes flashed with a strange emotion. Before coming here, he had already told Sima Kai that no matter what, he would not let them return to the clan alive. If possible, it would be best to kill them all on the spot. Sima Kai looked at Sima Lai with a murderous gaze. Since he had survived the sneak attack of the 6-toed devil mouse, he should have recognized that it was a devil beast. He definitely could not let him speak of this, otherwise. Chapter 130. Big Brother Lai. Sima Qing saw Sima Lai and called out his childhood name. Sima Lai heard the title that he had not heard for a long time and looked at Sima Qing. You are Qing? Brother Lai, you still remember Qing? Sima Qing smiled charmingly. Sima Lai gave her a slight smile, then turned his gaze towards Sima Lin and said, "This should be Sima Lin." Since young, the only person who could make Sima Qing obedient was Sima Lin. Sima Lin looked at Sima Lai. He never thought that he would actually be able to cultivate to such a level in this land of exile. If it was in the clan, then Sima Lai's current strength would not be any lower than his. "Sima Lai, where are the others?" Sima Lin glanced downwards and only saw Sima Yuming, the 4 youths and the guards. He didn't see anyone else. "Others?" Sima Lai sneered. "Could it be that the people who went back to report didn't tell you that other than me, everyone else was dead?" "All dead? Then third sister and the others?" Sima Qing looked at Sima Lai, wanting to see if he was lying. Unfortunately, she didn't see any guilty conscience, only a gaze filled with hatred. "He has already been dead for close to 100 years. Sima Lai coldly said. When Sima Lin heard this news, he was also a little surprised. However, that surprise disappeared in a flash, as if it had never appeared. "Sima Lai, you've actually managed to survive until now, and even have children. It's a miracle," Sima Ke said in a strange tone. "Simak? It's a miracle that a little rat like you is still alive," Sima Lai retorted sarcastically. "Do?" Sima Ke didn't think that Sima Lai would actually know how to retaliate and said, "You fugitives, if you don't obediently follow us back today, then don't blame us for being merciless." "Go back with you? Do you think that's possible?" Sima Lai looked at the few of them. There was no panic on his face, only determination. "You all left before the matters of the past were settled. Right now, you all must return with us." Sima Lin spoke. That was an unquestionable order. If we hadn't escaped back then, I'm afraid even I would have died. Look at the current state of the clan. If we go there, we'll be dead. Tell me, why should we go back with you?" "Big brother Lai, father also said later that this raging inferno slash was stolen by your father after he killed third grandpa, or was it third grandpa who passed it to him, and then third grandpa was killed? At that time, it was not clear. Perhaps you were really wrongly accused. If that's the case, don't you want to clear your name?" A trace of hesitation flashed across Sima Lai's eyes. Sima Kai glanced at Sima Ku and the latter immediately shouted, "Since you're not willing to surrender, then we can only forcefully take you back. Take this." As Sima Ku spoke, he charged towards Sima Lai. His speed was so fast that Sima Qing and the others were unable to stop him. Sima Lai saw Sima Ku's attack and the hesitation in his heart turned into anger. He also condensed chi in his hands and rushed towards Sima Ku. The spirit energy circles formed by the two of them were like arcs that were a few meters long. When they met in the air, they violently collided, and the two of them were forced back by the force of the collision. "Grandfather! Grandfather! General!" Sima Yuming and the others cried out in shock when they saw Sima Lai fighting with someone. "Men, let's go protect the general." The stewards saw that the two sides had started fighting and called those who were spirit kings and above to fly into the air, stopping in front of Sima Lai. "Fifth brother." Sima Kai went up to catch Sima Ku and brought him back to where Sima Lin and the others were. "Fifth great uncle, are you all right?" Sima Yulan flew over and asked Sima Ku worriedly. Flying in the air, she was of the same generation as Sima Yue and was actually a spirit king. "Yulan, take care of your fifth great uncle." Sima Kai handed Sima Ke over to Sima Yue before flying to the front. Looking at Sima Lai, he released his aura and took out his weapon, saying, "Stubborn, you actually wanted to take Ke's life. Such a vicious person, I will definitely take you down today." The power of a spirit saint was displayed, causing those who were watching below to flee. This was a battle between spirit saints, and the area of effect was huge and the power was strong. It was best for these small fries to quickly escape. Although this was a good show to watch, their little lives were more important. Sima Lai looked at Sima Kai and took out his weapon as well. "The last time you ambushed me, I'll take my revenge today. Steward, all of you are dismissed. General, go down and protect the young masters. This is an order." Once Sima Lai said this, the steward unwillingly brought his men down. They knew that they would not be able to withstand Sima Kai's attack, but they still wanted to use their lives to protect him. However, The young masters needed protection even more. Grandfather, is he the one who hurt you the last time? You have to be careful of his. Sima Yulu thought of how Sima Lai had been hurt by this person and knew that he had a devil pet, so he subconsciously reminded him. However, before he could finish speaking, he was knocked unconscious by Sima Kai's aura. Noisy. Sima Kai was worried that he would continue speaking, so he directly knocked him unconscious. When he saw Sima Yuming and the others, he knocked them unconscious as well. Young master. The steward did not think that a spirit saint would be so powerful that he could knock someone unconscious just like that. He quickly ran over to check on their condition. When he found out that they had only fainted, he heaved a sigh of relief and brought the guards to protect them. Come. Sima Lai saw that Sima Kai had knocked his grandson unconscious and attacked him. Inside the spirit pearl, Sima Yu had rested for more than a day, and her spiritual energy had barely recovered by 70 to 80%. She did not know why, but she kept feeling uneasy. In order to prevent herself from going crazy, she gave up on cultivating and flashed out of the spirit pearl, planning to give the 100 revolutions pills to Fatty Chu and the others. In your room, she took out a few jade bottles and divided the pills into 2 portions. When the time came, each person would have a jade bottle, so it would be more convenient to give them out. Just as she finished dividing the pills, a knocking sound came from the door. You, something big has happened. Have you come out of seclusion yet? Hearing Fatty Chu's anxious voice, she waved her hand and Jiaong kept the jade bottle away. She quickly went to open the door. Fatty, what's going on? You, something has happened in the general's residence. Your grandfather is fighting with someone. Fatty Chu said anxiously. Boom dash, as if to verify his words, a huge sound suddenly came. The power of the sound could affect half of the capital. What's going on? Could it be that he's fighting with the old bastard from the Nailin clan? Sima Yu asked. No, I don't know those people. But when I looked from afar, I heard that there were 3 spirit saints, a spirit overlord and a spirit king. I don't know where they came from. You wait for me. Fatty Chu had not finished speaking when Sima Yu ran out of the door. Chapter 131. The moment Sima Yue ran out of the academy, she was stopped by a guard from the general's residence. 5th young master, the general wants you to leave the imperial capital immediately. This is something for you. When Sima Yue saw the space ring in the guard's hand, she grabbed it and ran towards the general's residence. Young master Tsai. When the guard saw Sima Yue running towards the general's residence, he quickly chased after her. Wei Ziqi, Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei heard the commotion outside and came out to see Sima Yue and Fatty Chu running out. They hurriedly chased after them. Fatty Chu chased after her, but Sima Yue was nowhere to be seen. Fatty, what happened? Wei Ziqi and the others pulled Fatty Chu aside and asked. Something big has happened in the general's residence. Fatty Chu slapped his thigh and said. What happened? Bei Gongtang asked. Boom. The violent impact caused the ground to tremble. This is a battle between spirit emperors. Ouyang Fei looked in the direction of the battle in astonishment. Fatty Chu said worriedly, I don't know where these 3 spirit emperors and spirit overlords and spirit kings came from, but they've come to cause trouble for the general's residence. Right now, one of them is fighting with the general. What? Yue running over like that, wouldn't it be very dangerous? Wei Ziqi said worriedly. That's right, I chased after her, but in the blink of an eye, she disappeared. Fatty Chu said. Let's go and take a look. Bei Gongtang said as she took the lead and ran towards the school gate. There were already many students crowding around the entrance of the academy, blocking the entrance so that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The gate was tightly shut. The new head of teaching stood at a high point and said to the students below, It's very dangerous outside now. The academy has decided to seal the school gate and activate the Great Protective Array. No students are allowed to leave. Activate the formation. As soon as he finished speaking, a pale blue light slowly enveloped the entire academy. The people inside couldn't leave, and the people outside couldn't enter. What should we do? Yue is still outside. Fatty Chu said anxiously. Once the protective formation is activated, Unless the formation is shut down, no one can enter or leave. The people outside can only wait here. Wei Ziqi said. Bei Gong Tang looked at the figures fighting in the air and muttered, "Don't let anything happen to you." In midair, Sima Lai looked at Sima Kai, both hands placed in front of his chest, and his hands quickly formed a seal. Following his movements, the surrounding fire attribute spirit qi quickly condensed together, slowly forming a flaming blade. Raging Inferno Slash. The flame saber was 3 meters long, and it slashed towards Sima Kai. I didn't think that Brother Lai's Raging Inferno Slash had already reached this level. Sima Qing looked at the blazing blade and then at Sima Kai, but he didn't move at all. Sima Kai looked at the descending broadsword and his speed of forming seals increased. However, he was still much faster than Sima Lai. Last time, he was injured by this. This time, he could not use the six-toed demon mouse. It seemed that he would have to be injured again. However, if Sima Lai dared to hurt him, then he would not be able to survive today. Sima Yue ran to the general's residence, which was now in ruins. The door was broken in half and the courtyard had collapsed. Fortunately, everyone had come out and no one was smashed inside. "Brother!" Sima Yue saw that Sima Yuming and the others were unconscious in the ruins and quickly ran over. "Fifth young master, what are you doing here?" The steward saw Sima Yue and said worriedly, "Take advantage of the fact that they haven't discovered you, quickly leave." "I can't leave alone." Sima Yue came in front of Sima Yuming and the others and checked their bodies. After confirming that they were fine, she heaved a sigh of relief. She turned around and looked at Sima Lai in the air, asking, "Who is that person in the air?" The general just said that he was the one who injured him last time, but he didn't say who it was. The steward replied, "Young master, you should leave. They have already seen me." Sima Yue stood up and looked coldly at Sima Kai. It was this guy who had the six-toed demon mouse and used it to sneak attack grandfather, injuring him. When Sima Lai's blazing blade came down, Sima Kai's Raging Inferno Slash was formed and he quickly used it to block Sima Lai's blade. "A few months ago, you were not my opponent, and you will not be my opponent now. I was sneak attacked by you last time, and I will not make the same mistake this time. I will definitely take your life," Sima Lai said as he watched Sima Kai's blade being scattered bit by bit. Sima Kai watched as his own blade slowly dissipated. In a while, Sima Lai's blade would hit him. It was at this moment that Sima Lin, who had been silent all this time, made his move. With a single thought, Sima Lai and Sima Kai's blazing blade froze. No matter how the two of them moved, the blazing blade no longer listened to their commands. Spatial lock. Sima Yue cried out in surprise when she saw Sima Lin's actions. Sima Lin never thought that someone would actually recognize his move. He looked down and saw a figure standing straight in the ruins. "Scatter." His voice was light, but it was like a thunderclap that struck Sima Yue's heart. The blazing blade that had been sealed seemed to have lost the support of the fire attribute spirit energy and slowly dissipated along with his voice. Dash, dash. Their own spirit skills had been forcefully scattered and Sima Kai and Sima Lai both suffered a backlash. They spat out a mouthful of blood and each held their chest as they retreated a few meters. "Brother Lai, are you all right?" Sima Qing saw that Sima Lai was injured and immediately rushed over to his side, looking at him with concern. Sima Lai saw that Sima Qing had rushed over despite the danger and patted her head like when they were young, saying, it's all right. There's still Qing, just like before." Sima Qing's eyes immediately turned red, saying, "Brother Lai, don't resist. Big Brother is about to become a spirit paragon. You can't beat him. Come back with us and we'll explain what happened that year." "Qing, do you think this matter can be explained?" Sima Lai laughed bitterly. "If it really could be done, then why would we run away?" "Brother Lai." Sima Qing saw the pain in Sima Lai's eyes and bit her lips. She wanted to persuade him but she couldn't say anything. "Lai, we haven't investigated what happened that year. You took the Raging Inferno blade and left. Today you must come back with us." Sima Lin looked at Sima Lai. "If the clan really feels that you're guilty and wants to exile you here, then we'll let you come back." Sima Lai, although you're a spirit paragon, we have 3 spirit paragons here and you're injured. If you don't come with us, then don't blame us for punishing you on the spot. Sima Ke said as he glanced at Sima Yue and the others below. Grandfather, don't. Sima Yue saw the killing intent in Sima Kai and Sima Ke's eyes and shouted, even if we go back with them, we'll still die. Why don't we fight to the death now? Even if we really die, we'll drag 1 or 2 of them down with us. Little Roar came out and became big. Sima Yue sat on his back and came to Sima Lai's side, confronting Sima Lin and the others. Chapter 132. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue. Seeing her spirit beast, he actually couldn't recognize what spirit beast it was. Who are you? Thinking that she had recognized his spatial seal, he asked. Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin. No matter what happened back then, you cannot bring us back. I don't believe that a person who associates with demons will prove our innocence. What did you say? Sima Lin frowned as anger flashed across his face. Say what? Could it be that you're old and your ears aren't working well, so you can't understand what I'm saying? Sima Yue sneered. As the saying goes, those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Only jackals of the same tribe can walk together. Since you're working with the creatures of the devil realm, do you think we'll believe your words? What do you mean by associating with creatures from the devil realm? You're not allowed to slander my Sima family. Sima Yulan flew over angrily when she heard what Sima Yu said. Slander? Don't tell me that you didn't know that my grandfather was injured by your family's 6-toed rats. Sima Yue said. 6-toed devil rat? How could something from the devil realm end up in our Sima family? Sima Yulan was so angry that her face was red. She was extremely unhappy at Sima Yu's accusation. You go down. Sima Lai said when he saw that Sima Lin's expression was turning uglier and uglier. According to what you said, Guy already has a 6-toed devil mouse? Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue. The aura of a superior made it hard for the people below to breathe. However, it was a good thing that she was used to Emosha's aura, so she didn't have much of a reaction. She sneered, even if you want to use your aura to suppress us, you can't change this fact. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue and called out to the person behind him. Big brother, how could I have something from the devil realm? I don't even know what a 6-toed devil rat looks like. Sima Kai did not expect Sima Yue to reveal this matter, so he could only lie. You heard that? Sima Yulan looked at Sima Yu. Our Sima family is a big family in the Lin continent. How could we possibly do something like that? Although Sima Lin and Sima Qing did not say anything, the expression on their faces said the same thing. Sima Yue laughed coldly and patted Little Roar. Little Roar immediately understood and roared loudly. Although Little Roar's voice was very loud, it did not affect anyone. Only Sima Kai was holding his head in pain. Third great uncle, what's wrong? Sima Yulan asked when she saw Sima Kai hugging a pillow. Sima Yulan's voice attracted everyone's attention. Third brother, what's wrong? Sima Kai asked. Sima Qing looked at Sima Kai and asked sternly, Sima Kai, what's wrong with you? Sima Kai held his head with one hand and pointed at Sima Yue with the other, saying, What did you do to me? Sima Yue patted Little Roar's head and Little Roar roared again. Sima Kai's pain intensified and he could no longer continue flying. He immediately fell to the ground. Sima Ku flew down and caught Sima Kai before he hit the ground. What did you do to my third great uncle? Sima Yulan was about to hit Sima Yue when she was stopped by Sima Lin's gaze. Sima Lin turned around and looked at Little Roar, saying, What's going on? Do it again and you'll know why. After Sima Yue finished speaking, Little Roar cooperated and roared again. Sima Kai, who was on the ground, roared and a 6-toed devil mouse fell from his body, shocking everyone. What is this thing? It's so ugly. Sima Yulan looked at the rat that was the size of a rabbit and had black water flowing from its body. She immediately cried out. Sima Lin and Sima Qing immediately recognized that it was a creature from the devil realm. Seeing the unique 6 fingers, Sima Qing cried out, 6-toed devil mouse. The expressions of the Sima family members turned ugly. They had just sworn that the Sima family was definitely not associated with creatures from the devil realm. Now that the evidence was placed in front of everyone, it was like a slap to their faces. Six-toed devil mouse? Third great-uncle, how did you get such a thing? Sima Yulan was stunned and her face was filled with disbelief. Squeak dash, the six-toed devil mouse seemed to have been hurt by little Roar's voice as it scurried around on the ground. Seeing Sima Yoyue's gaze, it was filled with killing intent. Sima Kai, how did you get a devil beast? Sima Qing roared. That's right, third bro, how did you get a devil beast? Even Sima Ku was surprised. Squeak dash, the six-toed devil mouse spat out like a lantern as it looked at the people around it. Its ferocious nature was revealed. Squeak dash, seeing Sima Ku who was beside Sima Kai, the six-toed devil mouse leapt over to bite him. However, before it could touch him, it was hit to the side by a wave of spirit energy. Seeing the six-toed devil mouse, little Roar was very impatient. Without Sima Yoyue's instructions, he roared out on his own and the sound waves caused the six-toed devil mouse to scurry around on the ground. Not long after, it fell to the ground and stopped moving. Dash, when the six-toed devil mouse died, Sima Kai spat out a mouthful of black blood and fainted. A spirit saint expert was taken care of just like that. This turn of events caused everyone to be dumbfounded. Sima Lin glanced at the ground and saw that Sima Kai was still alive. He no longer bothered with him and turned his gaze to Sima Yue. Lai, what do you say now? Brother Lai, come back with us. If they really dare to kill you indiscriminately, I will risk my life to ensure your safety. Sima Qing said. Aye, grandfather. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai. She really did not want Sima Lai to say that he would go back. The impression that the Sima family gave her was too bad. If they went back just like that, she was worried that they would lose their lives. Sima Lin glanced at the old principal who was watching from afar. Seeing the worry in his eyes, he said, Lai, since we know that you are here, even if I take you back today, there will be other people who will come to take you back. If you go back with us, we can protect your lives. If other people come, those people below might not be able to keep their lives. Sima Lai glanced at the unconscious Sima Yuming and the others and his eyes flashed with struggle. Initially, he thought that even if he had to self-destruct, he would let them leave. However, he did not think that Sima Lin's strength would surpass his by so much. He even had spatial skills. His self-destruction would not have any effect other than losing his life. After escaping for so many years, he should go back and seek justice for his father. Although he did not know whether or not he could do it, he knew that if he continued to hide in this place, it would hinder the development of Sima Yuming and his brother. Forget it, I'll go back with you. Grandfather. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai with wide eyes. She could not believe that he would be willing to go back just like that. Chapter 133. Sima Lai saw the shock in Sima Yoyue's eyes and knew that she couldn't understand. He said, Yue, we can't run away forever. There are some things that we can't implicate others. Sima Yue looked down at the destroyed city below and looked at the innocent citizens below. She somewhat understood Sima Lai's actions. But Grandpa, if we go back with them, can they really give us justice? Sima Yue looked suspiciously at Sima Lin and the others. Because of Sima Kai's matter, she did not trust the so-called family clan. Yue, it's me and your brothers, not you. Sima Lai said hesitantly. Grandpa. Sima Yue was shocked. Everyone from the Sima family must be brought back. Sima Lin said. Actually, I didn't want to tell you this, but now I have no choice but to tell you. You are not a member of my Sima family, you are only adopted by us. Sima Lai said, so you don't have to get involved in Sima's matters. Grandpa, I know. But you guys raised me. You guys are my family. Sima Yue said firmly. You know. This time it was Sima Lai who was shocked. Could it be that Sima Yuming and the others had told her? Because of some things, I had my suspicions. Later on, I asked Master and he confirmed it. Sima Yue said. Since you already know, then you shouldn't have appeared here. Sima Lai said with a solemn face. Grandpa, You used to be my grandpa, and you will be my grandpa in the future. I used to be a member of the Sima family, and I will be one in the future. This will never change. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai and spoke her mind. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue emotionally. He did not expect that Sima Yue had already found out about her identity, and even more did not expect that she would not back down at such a critical moment. But he couldn't let her go back with him, because there were too many unknowns. He looked at Sima Lin and said, "She is not from the Sima family, you cannot bring her back." Sima Lin glanced at Sima Yue and did not comment. "In that case, let's go down first. Whether or not to bring her back, we'll discuss it below." Sima Qing said. When the group of them landed on the ground, Sima Lai hurriedly went to check on Sima Yuming and the others. Seeing that they were fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. "Yue, after we leave, you have to cultivate properly. I believe that it won't be long before you can walk out of here." After Sima Yue got off Little Roar, Sima Lai went up and patted her shoulder as he spoke. "Grandpa, are you going to listen to your grandfather or not?" Sima Lai glared at Sima Yue. "You're an array master?" Sima Lin suddenly asked. "Not yet," Sima Yue said. "Then your spiritual power should be very strong." Sima Lin said, "Since that's the case, then I'll give you a chance. If you can receive 3 of my spiritual energy attacks, then I'll let you go with me. If you can't, then you can't go, and you can't stop them from leaving." "Okay." Sima Yue agreed. Sima Lai was a little hesitant. He was afraid that Sima Yue would be injured. "Brother Lai, believe in Big Brother." Sima Qing said from the side. "Come." Sima Yue walked to the side and turned around to look at Sima Lin. At this time, Sima Yuming and the others woke up one after another. When they saw the ruins in front of them, they didn't react for a moment. They didn't know that this was where they lived. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue saying, "Have you thought it through? If you can't receive 3 of my attacks, then you will be seriously injured." "Of course I've thought it through." Sima Yue said, "Let's begin." Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue and gave a thought. Sima Yue felt as if her head had been pierced by needles, and her face turned pale. After a moment of dizziness, Sima Yue did not fall, but her spirit was much weaker. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue and his eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. He didn't think that Sima Yue's mental strength would be so strong. 1 attack was enough to make her dizzy. "Grandfather, what's going on with 5th bro?" Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue and Sima Lin and asked. Sima Lai sighed and explained the current situation to him. "The 2nd attack is coming." After Sima Lin spoke, Sima Yue felt as if a huge mountain had suddenly appeared on her back. That force kept pressing down, causing her body to slowly move downwards. Sima Yue used her mental strength to resist, but the opponent was too strong. Her resistance was completely useless. Plop! Sima Yue's entire body was drenched in sweat. Her entire body was pressed down to 1 knee on the ground. "5th bro." Sima Yuming and the other 3 saw the state Sima Yue was in and wanted to help her, but they were stopped by Sima Lai. Sima Lai shook his head at them. Although Sima Yuming and the others did not understand, they stayed where they were without moving. They only looked at Sima Yue worriedly. Crack! Because she wanted to stand up bit by bit, she was once again pressed down on the ground. Her knees hit the ground fiercely and everyone present heard the sound of her knees breaking. "5th bro!" Sima Yue cried out in surprise. He shouted at Sima Lin, "What are you doing? Why are you making things difficult for her?" Sima Lai wanted to stop him, but Sima Qing grabbed his hand, saying, "Brother Lai, eldest bro is unlocking her potential." Sima Lai looked and realized that Sima Yue's state was indeed different from before. He raised his hand and put it down again. The 2 of them stared at each other for about 10 minutes before Sima Yue was defeated. All the energy in her body was sucked out and many of her bones were broken. When Sima Lin retracted his mental energy, Sima Yue had already lost consciousness and was lying on the ground, not moving at all. "Grandfather, will 5th bro be all right?" Sima Yue looked at Sima Yue and asked. Sima Lai did not know either. He only pursed his lips and did not speak. "You've lost." Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue on the ground and said, announcing the result of the battle. Sima Yue lay on the ground. Her entire body felt as if it had been run over by a car. Was this the power of a high-ranked spirit saint? Sima Lin glanced at Sima Lai and the latter called the steward over, saying, in the future, there will be no more general's residence. Distribute the family property to everyone and go find your own way out. General, are you really going to leave? The steward looked at Sima Lai worriedly. I have no choice but to leave. Sima Lai patted the steward. I'll have to trouble you to take care of young master during this period of time. Once his injuries have healed, he can do whatever he wants. Yes, General. The steward replied unwillingly. Sima Yuming and the other three knew of Sima Lai's decision. Nobody raised any objections. If Sima Lai wanted to go back, they would definitely have to go with him. Yulan, are you still unable to sense the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit? Sima Lin asked. I can't sense it. Sima Yulan shook her head. We don't have time to waste here. Since we can't find it, we can only give up. We'll go back now. It was at this moment that a weak voice came from the ground. 3 years. Chapter 134. Sima Yue's voice was very weak, but it reached everyone's ears. 3 years, Sima Yue's voice was heard again. Then her body, which everyone thought had fainted, moved. Yue? Cough cough. Sima Yue coughed twice. She slowly moved her hands backward and supported herself up. 3 years. She repeated. Seeing Sima Yue stand up, Sima Qing and Sima Lin were shocked. Especially Sima Lin, he was very clear on the extent of her injuries, but he never thought that not only did she not faint, she was even able to stand up. What 3 years? Sima Yulan was also shocked by Sima Yu and asked. I know where the golden snake fruit is. In 3 years, you will protect Grandpa and the others, cough cough, ensure their safety. After 3 years, I will personally go to the Sima family and use the golden snake fruit to exchange for Grandpa and my brothers. Sima Yue's body swayed as if she would collapse at any moment. She could no longer speak, but her gaze was abnormally firm. Everyone present was stunned and looked at her, speechless for a moment. Fifth bro. Sima Yu Ming and the others' eyes reddened. Sima Yu ran over and supported Sima Yu. Sima Yu took out a pill and fed it to her. Sima Lin's eyes flashed as he said, You said you know the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit? I know who has it, but I don't know where it is. Sima Yue caught her breath and said, The golden snake fruit should be very important to you, right? Compared to the grandfathers who were chased out of the family, it should be much more important. How do you know? Sima Lin's eyebrows twitched, his interest in Sima Yue growing. Sima Yu did not lean on Sima Yu ran. She stood on her own and looked at Sima Lin, saying slowly, when that person returned at that time, he would naturally bring the news of the golden snake fruit back. If this was not important to you, you would not have rushed over so quickly. I think that there should be a very important person among you whose soul has been injured. After you heard about the news of the golden snake fruit, you rushed over without stopping. Sima Yulan's eyes shone brighter and brighter as she looked at Sima Yu. She was really smart and had guessed everything. Sima Lin did not speak. Sima Yue coughed twice and continued, So this golden snake fruit is very important to you guys, I am not wrong. Using 3 years of my grandfather's time in exchange for the golden snake fruit is not a loss for you. Why should I make this deal with you? Sima Lin said, We don't even know if we can wait for 3 years. Perhaps after 3 years, we will no longer need this golden snake fruit. If the soul is damaged, it will damage the mind but not the body. Not to mention 3 more years, even 30 more years won't be a problem. Sima Yue said. You know medicine? Sima Qing asked. Sima Yue did not reply, only looking at Sima Lin and asking, How is it? Even if you are right on this point, how can I believe that you will take the golden snake fruit outside in 3 years? The outside world is filled with danger and danger. Even the average spirit saint would not dare to pass through easily. You are just a little spirit master. How can you reach the level of a spirit saint in 3 years? Sima Lin said. I have my own ways. Sima Yue said, how I find the golden snake fruit and how I break through the barrier outside is my own problem. You only need to protect my grandfather and the others for 3 years. After 3 years, I will definitely appear outside your Sima family's door. Do you dare to make this deal with me? Yue, don't worry about us. Just do your own things in the future. Don't worry about us. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue, his eyes filled with reluctance. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin, waiting for his reply. All right. I will make this deal with you. Sima Lin said, in these 3 years, I will settle them down properly. If you do not come after 3 years, whatever happens to them will be decided by the family. Sima Yue said, I believe that you will not go back on your words. You must protect my grandfather and the others. Otherwise, I will make your Sima family regret. Her voice became softer and softer until she could no longer speak clearly. Before she could finish her last few words, she fainted. Fifth brother. Yue. Fifth young master. Sima Yue leaned on Sima Yuran's body, completely unconscious. Sima Qing looked at Sima Yue and sighed to Sima Lai. You raised a good grandson. Sima Lai walked over and carried Sima Yue. He looked at her with love and heartache before handing her over to the steward. Take good care of young master. Yes, General. This old servant will use my life to protect him. The steward took Sima Yue and promised. He had always known about Sima Yue's past and felt heartache for her. Now that he was shocked by her, she was the only one left in the Sima family. He would definitely take good care of her and protect her. Sima Lai patted the steward's shoulder and said to Sima Lin, let's go. Sima Lin summoned a goshawk. That goshawk grew bigger and landed in the courtyard. Divine beast! Someone saw the goshawk's rank and cried out. Sima Lin took the lead and walked up. Sima Qing, Sima Lai and the others followed suit. Even Sima Ke carried the unconscious Sima Kai and flew up. Sima Yulan hesitated for a moment before coming beside the steward. She took out a bottle of pills and said, this is a 4th-ranked pill. It will be very helpful in treating his injuries. Give it to him to eat later. After speaking, she placed the pill into Sima Yue's embrace before turning around and flying onto the goshawk's back. Once everyone was on, the goshawk flapped its wings and flew away, raising a thick cloud of dust. The old principal, who had been in the air the entire time, saw Sima Lai leave with them and sighed in his heart. He landed on the ground and said to the steward, leave him to me. Go and settle the remaining matters of the Sima family. Once you've settled down, come to the sect to look for him. The steward heard Sima Lai's instructions to the old principal and handed Sima Yue over to the old principal. After the Sima family went through such a disaster, their businesses would be shaken. No matter what choice Sima Yue would make in the future, he had to ensure that before she woke up, the Sima family's businesses would not be shaken too much. The old principal looked at Sima Yue. He had seen her performance just now and felt both heartache and praise. Thinking about her future, he could not help but sigh. He carried Sima Yue and flew into the sky above the sect. He waved his hands at the teaching director who was guarding the entrance, and the teaching director got people to close the great array protecting the sect. He carried Sima Yue directly to the courtyard where he lived. Bei Gong Tang and the others saw the unconscious person and hurriedly ran to the place where they lived, leaving behind a group of students who were still discussing the unforeseen event. The spectators from various powers also returned to their own houses and began to discuss the division of powers in the capital. The Sima family existed in name only, and the power in the capital had to be divided again. Everyone wanted to get a share of the pie at this time. Many commoners came to the general's residence. The once majestic mansion had turned into ruins, and they told everyone what kind of unforeseen event had happened. Chapter 135. The raging flames dyed the entire sky red, and the entire house was burned into ruins. The 3 words Shimen Residence, on the plaque above the main entrance, was slowly engulfed by the flames. Shimen Yu, didn't you rely on the fact that your talent is better than mine to suppress me? Why don't you turn around and take a look at what your Shimen clan has become now? Ha ha! A sharp laughter came from the flame, and it was so ear-piercing. Child, this is not your fault. You have to live well in the future. Mother hopes that you can live happily. A gentle and loving voice soothed her endless pain. The red wedding dress, the red flames, and the red blood kept flashing in front of her eyes. Sima Yue finally couldn't take it anymore and opened her eyes. Young master, you're awake. Chun Jian saw that Sima Yue's eyes were filled with tears and was wiping them away. Seeing that Sima Yue had opened her eyes, Chun Jian happily called out. Sima Yue turned around and saw Chun Jian's face. Only then did she slowly come back to her senses. She wanted to reach out and touch her head, but she found that her hand was wrapped in gauze. What does young master want? Chun Jian asked. Sima Yue shook her head and asked, Where is this? This is the headmaster's courtyard. It's been here ever since you fainted, Chun Jian said. At this moment, Yun Yu came in from outside. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, she hurried over and said, Young master, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for so many days. We were worried sick. How long have I been unconscious? Sima Yue sat up and saw that there were many bandages on her body. She reached out to remove them. It's already been 4 days, Chun Jian said. If it weren't for the principal repeatedly telling us that you were fine, Yun Yu and I would have been worried to death. Sima Yue's hand paused as she mumbled, 5 days. Grandpa and the rest have been gone for 5 days. Yun Yu went up and grabbed Sima Yue's hand, saying, Young master, why are you pulling the bandage? You're still injured. Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at her own body. Thinking back to the duel with Sima Lin that day, she could not even take 2 of his moves. My injuries have already healed. I don't need to wrap it up anymore, Sima Yue said as she continued to pull it off. Chun Jian and Yun Yu wanted to stop Sima Yue, but the 2 of them were surprised to find that after Sima Yue removed the gauze, all her previous injuries were healed. She got off the bed and walked without any problems. She opened the door and walked out. Young master's body, she. Yun Yu watched as Sima Yue left. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Chun Jian pulled her back and shook her head, indicating that she shouldn't be curious about the young master's matters. From a long time ago, she had discovered that not only had the young master's temperament changed, but he also had many secrets. As his servant girls, it was best for the 2 of them not to ask anything. Sima Yue came to the courtyard. The last time she came here, it was to say goodbye to Feng Zhixing. She didn't expect to come again so soon. The old principal was in the courtyard tending to his flowers and plants. When he heard the noise, he knew who it was without turning his head. After sleeping for so many days, you're finally awake. I've troubled the principal. Sima Yue lowered her eyes, hiding the emotions in her heart. The old principal stood up from the garden. At this moment he looked like a farmer. His trousers were rolled up and his hands were covered in mud. I promised your grandfather and master that I would take care of you. Naturally, I will take good care of you. The old principal walked out and said, Come with me. Sima Yue watched as the old principal condensed water vapor to wash the mud off his hands. She was speechless. Only he would use his spiritual energy to condense water vapor to wash his hands. The 2 of them arrived at the old principal's bedroom. He entered the room and quickly came out with a ring on his hand. He handed the ring to Sima Yue and said, Your grandfather gave this to me before the accident. He told me to give it to you. Sima Yue took the ring and held it tightly in her hand. Since you're fine now, you should go home. The old principal said, In order to take care of you, I let Chun Jian and Yun Yu stay here for the past few days. Now that you're fine, let them go back. Also, your friends have come to see you a few times. As for the rest, you can decide when you go home. I'll give you a few days off. You can come back to school after you've settled the matters at home. I understand. Thank you, Principal. Sima Yue bowed to the principal and turned to leave. Chun Jian and Yun Yu had already packed their things. When they saw Sima Yue come out, the 2 of them quickly followed. Chun Jian, how's the situation at home these past few days? After leaving the school, many places outside were still in a mess. Sima Yue thought of the general's residence that was in ruins and asked, Young master, after you fainted, we've been in the school and haven't left the courtyard. That's why we don't know what's going on outside. Chun Jian replied. Then let's go back and take a look. Sima Yue sighed and brought them back to the general's residence. When they reached where the general's residence used to be, the ruins had already been cleared. The new houses had not been built yet, and the people from the general's residence were only temporarily staying in the houses that had been spared. Fifth young master, you're back. A guard saw Sima Yue and happily reported the good news to the others. Fifth young master, are you all right? Fifth young master. The guards rushed over and surrounded Sima Yu in the middle. Sima Lai, Sima Yu Ming and the others were not around, so Sima Yue became their only master. Sima Yue nodded at them, indicating that she was fine. Seeing that the number of guards did not decrease, she was relieved. It seemed that nobody abandoned the general's residence because Sima Lai and the others were not around. Where's the steward? The steward is discussing something with a few stewards. They're in the kitchen. A guard replied. Art, thank you. Sima Yue walked towards the kitchen. When she passed by the library, she realized that most of the houses had been destroyed, but the library was completely fine. Could it be that this is some kind of treasure? Sima Yue muttered as she looked at the library. However, she did not have the time to think about this at the moment. Thinking that she would take a look when she had the time, she went to the kitchen. The kitchen was still the kitchen, but the dining hall beside it had become a meeting room. When Sima Yue arrived, the steward was discussing something with a few stewards. When they saw her enter, everyone in the house stood up. Fifth young master, are you feeling better? The steward asked excitedly. Sima Yue nodded, saying, I'm fine now. Now, you can tell me about the situation in the general's residence and the imperial capital. You can all go and rest. The steward can stay behind and report to me. After receiving her orders, the few stewards left, leaving her and the steward alone. Sima Yue found a place to sit down and listen to the steward talk about the current situation. Her expression became uglier and uglier, and the anger in her eyes grew stronger. Chapter 136. Young master, there's one more thing. The butler looked at Sima Yue worriedly. What is it? Because young master said that he knew the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit, many people wanted to take advantage of young master. The butler said, after that, the principal of the Capital Institute released the news that anyone who dares to have designs on you is going against the institute. That's why those people haven't done anything these days. Oh, you want to hit on me? Sima Yue sneered, then let them come. When the time comes, I'll kill them one by one. If two come, I'll kill a pair. If the entire clan comes, I won't mind exterminating them. The butler felt sorry for Sima Yue when he saw the coldness in her eyes. If it weren't for the current situation, she wouldn't have become like this. Young master, since the principal has spoken, those people naturally won't dare to do anything openly. However, we still have to guard against them from behind the scenes. The butler thought that Sima Yue was just saying it out of anger and did not know that she really had that kind of ability. There's no need to worry about this for now. I'll handle it myself. Sima Yue waved her hand. Were you discussing the shop with those stewards just now? Yes, many forces thought that the general's residence would be disbanded after the general left, so they all wanted to get a share of the profits. Some families came to me, wanting to buy our shops at a low price. Some suppliers directly cut off our supply, probably because they were afraid that we wouldn't be able to come up with the money. Therefore, we are now in a precarious situation. Even the number of guests has decreased by more than half. The butler said worriedly. In that case, our shop is now an empty shell, Sima Yue said. Yes, I was just discussing with those managers to see if we can find another shop. The butler said. Are all the people outside trying to take advantage of the situation? Sima Yue asked. That's not it either. The Chu family sent someone over previously, saying that the reason was to provide us with some goods. However, their own abilities are limited and they can't completely resolve our crisis. The butler said. Fatty. Sima Yue recalled hearing Fatty telling her that he would not let anything happen to the Sima family. He really did it. In addition, the Beast Tamers Guild has also said that they will help us. They are willing to provide us with some tamed low-level spirit beasts. The butler added, I heard that this was decided by the vice president of the guild. Then it should be Zi who went to look for his granduncle. Sima Yue said, providing help in times of need is always more meaningful than icing on the cake. No matter how much help they give us, we have to thank them. At the same time, we have to make those who want to take advantage of the situation pay the price. When the butler saw the confidence in Sima Yue's eyes, his heart calmed down. As long as he did not collapse, the Sima family would not collapse. Young master, what should we do next? Go and call those stewards in. We will discuss this. Sima Yue said. She did not believe that as a beast tamer and alchemist, she would not be able to support the Sima family. The butler went out and quickly brought those stewards in. Fifth young master. The stewards bowed to Sima Yue in unison. To them now, she was already their master. In the past, they only listened to Sima Lai and did not discriminate against her. However, they did not approve of her in their hearts. However, after hearing about what happened that day, everyone treated her as their master. Forget it. Everyone, find a place to sit. Sima Yue waved her hand and said, the butler has just told me the situation. Firstly, Yue would like to thank everyone for not leaving the Sima family. I thank everyone on behalf of my grandfather and brothers. Saying this, she stood up and bowed to everyone. Young master, you are too kind. Those stewards stood up one by one, not daring to accept Sima Yue's bow. This is what I should do. Sima Yue sat down again. Those stewards also sat back down. I also heard that 1 or 2 stewards felt that the Sima family would disband because of this and left at this time. I do not blame them for this. However, I will definitely say that the Sima family will not decline. It will only become stronger. Those who left, we will make them regret their decision today. Okay. We believe in young master. We will listen to young master no matter what you want us to do. Sima Yue's simple words made everyone feel more energized. She had now become their backbone. First of all, we still have to continue operating the shop. Sima Yue said, I will provide the pills. You don't have to worry about the pills and herbs. On one hand, we will look for the beast tamer masters. On the other hand, I will find some. As for the rest, we will look for the Chu family. Even if we do not make a profit, we have to replenish the goods first. We cannot let the shop be short of anything. Everyone knew that she was an alchemist. Hence, when they heard her talking about the pills, they did not feel that it was inappropriate. However, when it came to the matter of the spirit beasts, they were a little hesitant. Young master, although the Beast Tamer Master Guild said that they will provide some help, they cannot satisfy our needs. If we ask them for help, I am afraid that we will have to pay a hefty price. One of the stewards said, we only need to provide them with the current quantity. We still have to rely on ourselves for the future supply. Sima Yue said, rely on ourselves? Young master, there are no beast tamer masters. How can we rely on ourselves? Who said that there are no beast tamer masters? Sima Yue said, we don't know how to tame beasts. Could it be? Everyone turned to look at her. She nodded and said, that's right. I am a beast tamer master. Hence, in the future, you will be in charge of finding people to capture the spirit beasts. I will tame them. Young master is a beast tamer master? Everyone looked at her in shock, as if they were wondering if she was telling the truth. Young master, aren't you an alchemist? Someone asked. Who said that an alchemist can't be a beast tamer master? Sima Yue retorted. No. That person shook his head stupidly. It seemed like he was quite shocked. But young master, if we want to capture the spirit beasts, I am afraid that we do not have enough manpower. The steward said. Then we will recruit people. Sima Yue said. But young master, we do not have that much money now. The steward said, we did not make much profit in the past. Hence, we do not have much inventory. Now, we have to repair the house and look for resources. All these things require money. Furthermore, those spirit masters may not be able to be bribed with money. No money. That is a big problem. Sima Yue said, But if money is not enough, we can use other methods to attract them to work for us. For example, what they want. Chapter 137. The meeting lasted for almost 2 hours. After coming out of the temporary conference hall, every manager's face was brimming with confidence, as if they had seen a beautiful future. Sima Yue and the butler came out after her. The butler felt relieved when he saw Sima Yue. She wasn't depressed, she wasn't passive, and she wasn't defeated. Instead, she had arranged everything in such a short time. In the past, no one had realized that she had such a talent for leadership. Young master. Chun Jian had been waiting outside. When she saw Sima Yue come out, she went forward and said, Young Master Chu and the others are here. They have been waiting for a while. Fatty and the others are here? Where is it? Sima Yue asked. They're waiting outside, Chun Jian said. We don't have any extra rooms right now, so we can only let them wait outside. I got it. Sima Yue said, Butler, you can go ahead with your work. Yes, this old servant will take his leave. The butler bowed and turned to leave. Chun Jian brought Sima Yue to the front, and when she saw several people standing on the ground, she quickly walked up to them. Yue. They heard footsteps and turned to see her walking away. Sima Yue saw the worry on Bei Gongtang and the others' faces and smiled at them, saying, I'm so sorry, but now you guys don't even have a place to sit. Yu, we heard that you left the academy, so we came over to take a look. Bei Gongtang said, How is your body now? That's right, I heard that many of your bones were broken. How are you now? Do you still feel pain anywhere? Fatty Chu asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, It's not that serious. I just slept for a few days. I'll be fine when I wake up. Really? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. She moved her body and there was no problem. Only then did everyone relax. Let's go somewhere else to talk. There's no place in the general's residence that can entertain you. Sima Yue said, Let's go to the tea house nearby. The 5 of them went to the tea house and found a private room. When the tea was served, the waiter glanced at Sima Yue a few more times. Sima Yue picked up the teacup and said to Fatty Chu, Fatty, I'll use tea as a substitute for wine to thank you for your family's help at this time. Yu, you're so polite. I'm not used to it. Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head as he said, Sima Yue, Sima Yue, uses a Yu as S. And of the Ouyang Fei and Bei Gongtang drank their tea. Yue, I heard that the Sima family situation is not good. Do you have any plans? Fatty Chu asked. Of course I do. Sima Yue said, those people want to take the chance to divide the Sima family. It's not that easy. Although grandfather and the rest are no longer around, I'm still around. I won't let the Sima family disband. I want to make it stronger. What do you plan to do? Wei Ziqi asked. Sima Yue smiled. I still need your help on this. The next day, Sima Yue followed Wei Ziqi to the Beast Tamer Master Guild to meet the vice president. Granduncle, Yue is here. Wei Ziqi brought Sima Yue into the living room and said to the people there. Sima Yue bowed slightly and said, Greetings to the vice president. The vice president nodded and said, 5th young master, please take a seat. Thank you, vice president. You can just call me Yue. Sima Yue and Wei Ziqi sat down and a servant girl immediately came to serve tea. Yue, Ziqi came to find me yesterday and insisted that I meet you. What's the matter? The vice president asked. It's like this. After I woke up, I heard from the housekeeper that the Beast Tamer Master Guild had helped us. I heard that it was under your orders, so I wanted to thank you. Also, there are some things that I want to discuss with you. Although I don't have much contact with your grandfather, I know that he is a righteous person. Plus, your relationship with Ziqi is so good, so helping you is not a big deal. The vice president said, as for the things you want to discuss, you can discuss it with the people you sent. This matter needs to be discussed with the person in charge. That's why I came to find you through Ziqi. Sima Yue said, Vice President, I'm not here to seek help. I'm here to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild. Cooperate? The vice president looked at Sima Yue. not knowing what she had to cooperate with him. The Beast Tamer Master Guild is not under my control. If you want to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild, you have to take out something that can move the guild. Since I'm here, I naturally thought of this. Sima Yue said. Then tell me, how do you want to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild? The vice president asked. The Sima family's shop needs some tamed spirit beasts. I hope that the Beast Tamer Master Guild can help us fill this gap temporarily. Sima Yue said, in return, I'm willing to tame a certain number of saint beasts for the Beast Tamer Master Guild. What did you say? You can tame saint beasts? The vice president and Wei Ziqi were stunned, thinking that they were hallucinating. Sima Yue nodded and said, that's right. I wonder if this condition can be exchanged with the Beast Tamer Master Guild? Yue, you're a Beast Tamer Master now? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. Even though they lived under the same roof every day, she would still shock them from time to time. Sima Yue nodded her head. The vice president looked at Sima Yue with a different gaze and said, you've tamed saint beasts before? What level? 4th level. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue as if he was looking at a monster. His great-uncle had said that his talent was outstanding and that he would achieve great things in the future. However, he was still unable to tame saint beasts. Sima Yue was actually able to tame 4th-level saint beasts. Even his great-uncle, the vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild, who had lived for more than 100 years, could only tame 6th-level saint beasts. Furthermore, her spiritual energy level was higher than his, and she was also a pill master. He rubbed his forehead. Was this guy really the person who lived with them? No, how was he human? He was obviously a pervert. Words are not proof. The vice president calmed himself down and looked at Sima Yue. I can prove it. Sima Yue said, if the guild has any spirit beasts that I can tame them on the spot. It can be considered as a show of sincerity for our cooperation. All right, a saint beast just came 2 days ago. I was planning to tame it in 2 days, but I can let you try it now. The vice president was interested in her. Thinking about the spirit beast that was just sent over, he also wanted her to try it. He wanted to see if she was really able to tame saint beasts like what she said just now. Sima Yue smiled confidently, all right. Chapter 138. Title, Chapter, Author, well, if you have really tamed a sacred beast, then the Sima family's spiritual beast tamer for this period of time will be provided to you for free. The vice president said, if you are unable to tame a spirit beast, then our Beast Tamer Master Guild will also lend a helping hand. However, we will need to collect some costs. Sure. Sima Yue nodded. But I have a small request. Go ahead. I want to train beasts publicly. Sima Yue said. Public beast taming? Yes, it's best if it's in a crowded place like a square, Sima Yue replied. The vice president immediately understood Sima Yue's plan. If she were to tame a sacred beast in front of everyone, then her status in the Dongchen kingdom would instantly skyrocket. Those who had designs on the Sima family would naturally shrink back, and she could also rely on her own fame to attract some wandering spirit masters. All right, then I'll get someone to make the arrangements. In a while, we'll go to the Imperial City Plaza to tame the beasts in public. While those people were preparing, the vice president brought Sima Yue to take a look at the holy beast that had just arrived. A level 2 earth bear beast was locked in a cage. When it saw someone coming, its eyes flashed with an ominous glint. A level 2 sacred beast? Sima Yue asked as she recognized the earth bear's level. This earth bear beast's mental strength is rather strong. Although it is only level 2, the difficulty of taming level 3 sacred beasts is not any lower. The vice president said. Okay, Sima Yue looked at the restless earth bear in the cage and was not worried about the outcome at all. At this moment, 2 servants walked in and bowed to the vice president, saying, Vice President, we're here to carry the spirit beast over. The vice president nodded and said, Go. Be careful. The 2 men walked over and carried the cage out. Although it was a mimicry, the size of this earth bear beast was not to be underestimated. Let's go. The vice president turned around and left. Sima Yue was about to follow, but was stopped by Wei Ziqi. What's wrong? She looked at Wei Ziqi in confusion. Wei Ziqi pulled her over and said softly, Yue, can you really tame this earth bear beast? This is a rank 2 holy beast. If you fail to tame it, you will suffer a backlash. Don't worry. When have I ever done something that I'm not confident in? Sima Yue smiled and followed the vice president out. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue's back and sighed as he followed her. Although he knew that she had always been confident and would do what she said, he still doubted that she was already a beast-taming grandmaster. When Sima Yu and the others arrived at the plaza, there was already a sea of people. The entire plaza was so crowded that not even a drop of water could trickle through. When they heard that someone was going to tame a beast in public, everyone came over out of curiosity. Mo Li and Nailin Lan were coincidentally passing by the plaza as well. When they heard that someone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild wanted to tame a beast, they both got off their carriages at the same time and came to the center of the plaza to see who was so high profile. Make way! A guard opened a path in front of the vice president and the rest. When everyone saw that it was someone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, they consciously made way for them. Although the vice president lived in seclusion most of the time, most of the people in the capital still recognized him. Seeing Sima Yue following behind him, many people were puzzled as they did not know what they were going to do. The vice president brought Sima Yue to the center of the plaza where the cage containing the earth bear beast was placed. How is it here? The vice president asked. Sima Yue looked at the people around her. Not bad, many people from different powers had come. Furthermore, the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild were very fast. Not only did they attract so many people, they also drew a temporary boundary, keeping the crowd outside. Very good. Sima Yue said. Then you can start after you've adjusted your state. The vice president said. No need. Sima Yue said as she walked to the center of the plaza and sat down in front of the cage. Sima Yue? Why is she sitting outside the cage? Didn't something happen to the Sima family? Why is she still here? Looking at her actions, is she going to tame the beast? It can't be. Isn't she a trash? How can she be a beast tamer? Did you just come from another city? This Sima Yue is no longer a trash. She started cultivating a year ago and is now a second-grade alchemist. We will never be able to catch up with her talent. How can she be considered trash? What? She's an alchemist. And a second grade. Yes, during the Emperor's birthday, she even refined pills in front of everyone. This is something that the entire capital knows. She's an alchemist, but why does she look like she's going to tame the beast? Could she be a beast tamer? How can that be? It's already a miracle that she's an alchemist. How can she be a beast tamer? If that's the case, then we should find a hole to hide in. What's the point of living like this? But looking at her actions, she really looks like she's going to tame the beast. If she's really a beast tamer and an alchemist, then how powerful is she? Even if the Sima family only has her as the head of the family, they won't decline. Did you guys notice? The one in the cage seems to be a sacred beast. What? Everyone's gaze landed on the cage. It was indeed a sacred beast. If she was able to tame it, then she would be a beast tamer grandmaster. Everyone didn't dare to think further, afraid that they wouldn't want to live anymore. Many people believed that Sima Yue was a beast tamer. Of course, there were also some who didn't believe it. Mo Li didn't believe it. She looked at Sima Yue and said, Sima Yue, such a big thing happened to the Sima family. Why aren't you at home? What are you doing out here? Aren't you an alchemist? Why, do you think this spiritual beast will be manipulated by you like medicinal herbs? Do you think you're a beast tamer? If I were you, I wouldn't be here to embarrass myself. Sima Yue looked at Mo Li and said faintly, who said that alchemists can't be beast tamers? After she finished speaking, she reached her hand into the cage. Many people saw her touch the earth bear beast and closed their eyes in fright. The cage containing the spiritual beasts seemed to restrict their strength. Although their eyes were fierce and violent, they didn't bite her hand. She placed her hand on the Earth Bear Beast's forehead and activated the Imperial Beast art, beginning to tame it. Bei Gong Tang, Ouyang Fei and Fatty Chu walked past and saw Wei Ziqi standing in the middle of the empty space. They squeezed in to see what was going on. Seeing Sima Yue taming the Earth Bear Beast, Fatty Chu was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Ziqi, what is Yue doing? Don't tell me she's taming a beast. Fatty Chu came to Wei Ziqi's side and asked, Didn't you see it? Wei Ziqi rolled his eyes at Fatty Chu. Bei Gong Tang looked at the Earth Bear Beast in the cage and said, The one in the cage is a Saint Beast, right? Or a second-grade Earth Bear Beast? What? When Fatty Chu heard this, he hurriedly reached out his hand to support his chin. If not, he was really afraid that his chin would be gone. Gentlemen's Assembly. Chapter 139. Ziqi, when did Yue become a beast tamer master? Fatty Chu could not believe his own eyes as he grabbed Wei Ziqi and asked. Wei Ziqi slapped his hand away and said, You're asking me, but who am I supposed to ask? We should just watch quietly. Bei Gong Tang said. Fatty Chu and the rest quietened down as they watched the game between Sima Yue and the Earth Bear. In the eyes of outsiders, the taming process was just one man and one beast standing there without moving or speaking. In fact, there was nothing to see and it took quite a long time. But even so, Sima Yue tamed them from morning till afternoon, and no one left. Everyone wanted to see if the trash of the past had really become not only an apothecary, but also a beast tamer master. She wanted to see if she could successfully tame it. Wei Ziqi and the other members of the Beast Tamer Master Guild already believed that Sima Yue was a Beast Tamer Master. If she wasn't, she wouldn't have been able to last so long against the Earth Bear. Almost there. The Vice President's eyes lit up as he looked at Sima Yue. Wei Ziqi and the rest looked towards the Earth Bear Beast and saw that the fierceness in its eyes was no longer there. It was almost as docile as the spirit beasts sold in the spirit beast shops. After a while, Sima Yue opened her eyes. She was not too tired. Woo, the Earth Bear Beast was lying in the cage. Sima Yue went forward and opened the cage. The Earth Bear Beast did not even know that it had come out. When the people present saw her open the cage, they all retreated in fear. However, when they saw that the Earth Bear Beast didn't come out to attack them, they relaxed and continued to watch the show. The Vice President stepped forward and looked at the Earth Bear, saying, It's indeed tamed successfully. I didn't expect you to succeed, and the time you spent was a third shorter than the average beast tamer. It's indeed not easy. Sima Yue smiled and said, The spirit beasts I tamed have another characteristic. What? The Vice President asked, Is the owner of this spirit beast here? If he is, you can let him experiment on the spot. I believe that the results will not disappoint you. Sima Yue said. The Vice President glanced at a middle-aged man waiting by the side of the stage. The man understood and walked over. Actually, when he first heard that his spiritual beast would be tamed by Sima Yue, he did not agree. However, this spiritual beast had already been entrusted to the Beast Tamer Master Guild and the Vice President did not say anything, so he could only watch from the side. He did not expect Sima Yue to succeed. Now, he believed what she said and started to look forward to what she said. The Vice President said, You heard what Yue said. Are you willing to sign the contract now? All right. Sima Yue and the Vice President retreated to the side. That person walked in front of the Earth Bear and placed his hand on its forehead to start the contract. Soon, a contract formation was formed in the square, wrapping around the man and the beast. After the contract was completed, the formation turned into 2 silver lights and drilled into the man and the beast's foreheads. There's nothing special about it? The people present were a little disappointed when they saw that there was nothing special about the contract. The Earth Bear's owner also did not feel anything special. Just as he was about to ask, he suddenly felt a surge of energy in his body. A large amount of spiritual energy surged out from the contract space. He quickly sat down cross-legged and began to guide the energy in his body. Soon, the light of leveling up shone and enveloped the man and the beast again. Oh my God, are they leveling up together? They can still level up after signing the contract. What kind of taming method is this? It's too magical. Everyone present was shocked by this scene. They looked at Sima Yue as if they were looking at a treasure. If the spiritual beast she tamed could level up after signing a contract with her, then wouldn't they be able to level up after signing a contract with her? Even though the vice president had lived for a long time, this was the first time he saw a leveling up after signing a contract. No wonder she said that she had the capital to work with the Beast Tamer Master Guild. Just as everyone was discussing, the light of leveling up slowly faded. The owner had leveled up by 2 levels and the spiritual beast had leveled up by 1. That person opened his eyes and looked at Sima Yue excitedly. He stood up and bowed to Sima Yue, saying, "Thank you, 5th young master, for taming the spiritual beast for me. If the general's residence has any problems in the future, please look for me. I will definitely help you." "You're welcome." Sima Yue smiled and waved her hand, but the general's residence is no more, only the Sima residence is left. If I need your help in the future, I will definitely look for you. With a grandson like you, General Sima will definitely be safe and sound. If there's nothing else, I will go back first. With that, he bowed to the vice president and Sima Yue and turned to leave. He had just leveled up and needed to go back and consolidate his strength. Sima Yue looked at the excited crowd and knew that she had achieved her goal. She said to the vice president, "Vice President, let's go back." The vice president nodded and left with the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, leaving behind a few people to pack up. The people who were watching the show saw that the main characters had left and also dispersed. However, they did not forget about this matter and instead spread the news. Such a miraculous thing must be told to more people. Shiramoli did not think that Sima Yue was actually a Beast Tamer Master and was even a great Beast Tamer Master. Thinking that Sima Yue was better than her in refining pills, although she was not convinced, she could only leave resentfully. Nalan Lan was also shocked by Sima Yue's actions. She grew up in the clan and naturally knew the consequences of Sima Yue's actions today. Thinking that her own clan was planning to make a move on the Sima family, she immediately sent people back to tell her father about this matter. Returning to the Beast Tamer Master Guild, the people in the guild looked at her differently. Just the fact that she was a great Beast Tamer Master was enough for them to look up to, not to mention that she was also a second-tier pill master. Once again returning to the living room, the vice president sent people to greet Sima Yue, Wei Ziqi, Fatty Chu and the others before leaving for a while. Today's matter had to be reported to the president. Originally, he only wanted to help the Sima family, but he did not think that Sima Yue would take out such a huge bargaining chip to cooperate with them. According to his intentions, he could give Sima Yue more benefits, but he had to report it to the president. In the living room, Fatty Chu and the others were still immersed in the shock from just now and had not recovered. Each of them looked at Sima Yue as if they were looking at a monster. Even Bei Gongtang, who had seen many geniuses, looked at her the same way as Fatty Chu and the others. "Yue, how much do you have that we don't know about?" Fatty Chu exclaimed. Cough cough. Sima Yue coughed twice, thinking that she really had many secrets. "Yue, when did you become a great Beast Tamer Master?" Ouyang Fei asked curiously. "The last time I came back from Puluo mountain range, didn't I leave again? I went back to the mountains to tame spirit beasts. At that time, I knew that something might happen to the Sima family, so I wanted to increase our strength. But I never thought that it would be completely useless in front of those people." "You're saying that you became a great Beast Tamer Master in just 10 days? Fatty Chu cried out in shock. Chapter 140. Every time they thought that they had calmed down after being provoked by Sima Yue, she would ruthlessly provoke them again. Actually, it's nothing much. Alchemy and beast taming both rely on mental strength. Due to some reasons, my mental strength is slightly stronger than the average person. Sima Yue said. Not human. After a long while, Fatty Chu finally spat out this sentence. Agreed. Ouyang Fei nodded. That's right. Bei Gong Tang agreed. I'm thinking, should I pry open Yue's head and see what's inside? Wei Ziqi, who had always been gentle and refined, had been provoked to the point that he revealed his valiant nature. Sima Yue looked at them speechlessly. She knew that she was a little perverted, but these people shouldn't be so agitated. Fortunately, at this moment, the president and vice president of the Beast Tamers Guild came in and interrupted their conversation. President, Granduncle. Wei Ziqi stood up and bowed to the two of them, and at the same time told Sima Yue about the identity of the people who had come. Sima Yue and the rest also stood up and bowed. The president waved his hand and asked everyone to sit down. The president sat down at the main seat and started sizing up Sima Yue. Sima Yue met the president's gaze calmly. While he was sizing her up, she was sizing him up too. Capable, this was her first impression of him. Confidence. This was his first impression of her. Fifth young master, I've just heard about what happened today. The fact that you've become a great beast tamer at such a young age has really shocked this old man. The president stroked his mustache and said, I wonder where fifth young master learned from? My master has always been living in seclusion in the mountains. He lives a low-key life and doesn't like the disturbances of the outside world. That's why he doesn't allow me to talk about him. Please forgive me. Sima Yue spouted nonsense. She didn't have a master, so where was she going to find one? Speaking of which, that Emo Sha had given her pointers when she was training beasts. The imperial beast art was also given to her by him, so strictly speaking, he could be considered half her master. However, his existence was an absolute secret, so it was impossible for him to speak of it. The president nodded. He knew that people like her had their own preferences. Some liked to show off, while others liked to keep a low profile. Since she didn't want to talk about it, he couldn't force her. You said that you want to cooperate with our Beast Tamers Guild? Sima Yue nodded and said, yes, I'm sure the president knows about what happened to the Sima family. Our current situation is not good. Many forces want to take over the Sima family because my grandfather is not around. So I want to cooperate with the Beast Tamers Guild. You can provide us with spiritual beasts for a period of time. In return, I will tame a batch of sacred beasts for the Beast Tamers Guild. She had heard Wei Ziqi say before that there were not many people in the Beast Tamer Master Guild who were able to tame saint beasts. Furthermore, they would take a long time to recover, so she believed that the point she had raised would be very tempting to the Beast Tamer Master Guild. We don't need you to tame many sacred beasts. The president said, I would like to invite you to join our Beast Tamers Guild. When the time comes, the Beast Tamers Guild will provide you with the spiritual beasts you need for free. Join the guild? Sima Yue's heart was a little hesitant. This was not part of her plan as she did not want to be restricted. Yes, you can join the guild as an elder. Normally, you won't need to do anything. You just need to tame a few spiritual beasts for the Beast Tamers Guild occasionally. When the Beast Tamers Guild is in danger, you just need to appear for a bit. This is much better than taming many sacred beasts. The president said. But I don't have any plans to join any organization at the moment. Furthermore, you should know that I will be leaving Dongchun country in 2 years. It wouldn't be good for me to join you. Sima Yue rejected. When Wei Ziqi heard Sima Yue's words, he was a little anxious for her. The position of the Beast Tamers Guild's president was not something that just anyone could obtain. Don't be in a hurry to reject me. The president waved his hands and said, I naturally know that you are leaving, but you are still here. Furthermore, if you join the Beast Tamers Guild, as long as you don't do anything that will let the guild down, you will always be an elder. When the time comes for you to leave Dongchun country, the Sima family will also need a backing, isn't that right? Sima Yue was silent. The president was right. She would be leaving very soon. When the time comes, the Sima family's foundation would not be stable and they would indeed need a strong backing. And the Beast Tamers Guild was just right for this. The people in the house did not make a sound, giving her time to consider. This was a big decision. After a while, Sima Yue nodded her head and said, all right, I agree to join the Beast Tamers Guild. Everyone in the house laughed. The president nodded his head and took out a badge from his spatial ring, saying, this is the badge of an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild. Take it. Sima Yue stood up and took the badge with both hands. All right, from now on, you are the 9th elder. The president said with a smile. That's it? Sima Yue blurted out. Wasn't there a process for a power to gain an elder? Seeing the doubt in her eyes, the president smiled but did not say anything. The vice president at the side said, "We know that you don't like these complicated matters, so we'll just skip it. When the time comes, we'll just announce to the public that you are our elder." Thank you, President and Vice President. Sima Yue kept the badge into her spatial ring and returned to her seat. Regarding the matter of the spirit beasts, you can just find someone to look for Manager Fu. He will arrange it for you. The president said. Thank you, President. After leaving the Beast Tamers Guild, Sima Yue was still in a daze. How did she become an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild just like that? You don't know this, but for a normal person to become an elder of the guild, they have to go through layers of tests and selections. After confirming the candidate, there are 3 ceremonies. It's very troublesome. Wei Ziqi explained. I think you are the only one who can receive such treatment. It's best if you don't. Sima Yue said, thank you for today. If it wasn't for you, meeting the vice president would be a headache for me. Sima Yue said. No need to be so polite. Wei Ziqi smiled. All right, the 4 of us will return to the academy first. If you need anything, just get someone to look for us. I will. After parting ways with them, she returned to the Sima residence. Today, her reputation had already spread. Very soon, the news of her becoming an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild would spread. The matter of the spirit beasts in the shop had also been settled. Now, she needed to return and discuss the next step with the housekeeper. She was still used to taking the old path to the main entrance. Only when she reached the flat ground did she remember that the main entrance was gone. She stood blankly in front of the old main entrance. Thinking about how the general's residence used to be here, her heart ached. Grandfather, brothers, wait for Yue. I will definitely save you. Chapter 141. Young Master. The butler had just returned and walked over when he saw Sima Yue in a daze. Sima Yue turned to the butler and asked, How is it? The Chu family has already decided to cooperate with us. We still have to continue discussing the details. The butler said. Today, Sima Yue went to the Beast Tamers Guild while he went to the Chu family to look for Fatty Chu's father to discuss the details of the supply. Young Master, what's the situation on your side? It went well. Sima Yue said, let's talk about it when we get back. When they returned to the temporary meeting hall, Sima Yue told them about what happened today. When they heard that Sima Yue had not only reached an agreement with the Beast Tamer Guild, but also became an elder of the guild, they were elated. Now that we've made a name for ourselves, we can start recruiting now. Sima Yue said, we are in urgent need of manpower, so we can relax the requirements. As long as they are capable and have a decent character, they will be fine. Furthermore, he had to promise that he would serve the Sima Manor for 10 years. During these 10 years, he would receive a salary from the Sima Manor. 10 years later, it's up to them to decide whether to stay or leave. Young Master, why is it 10 years? The butler was puzzled. Some of those spirit masters don't like being tied down. If we want them to serve us for the rest of their lives, they won't agree. But if it's only 10 years, they'll treat it as a deal. Sima Yue said, and 10 years is enough for us to develop our own forces. So that's how it is. Young Master is more considerate. The butler nodded. As for the recruitment requirements, their strength must be at least a great spirit master. Moreover, according to their strength, they can obtain spirit beasts of different ranks. Furthermore, they will be spirit beasts that I have personally tamed. In addition, there are also a number of pills. Sima Yue added, and after entering the Sima family, they can enjoy the same treatment as our own guards. What do you think? Only with good treatment will people be willing to stay, the butler said. Since you've agreed, then let's start putting up the notice. Sima Yue said, also, we have to speed up the construction of the Sima residence. We can't be without our own home all the time. That's not good for attracting talents. Yes, young master. I'll leave the details to you. Once we've found the manpower, we'll send someone to capture the spirit beasts. We can't always rely on the Beast Tamer Guild. Sima Yue said. Then this old servant will go and make the arrangements. The butler bowed slightly and prepared to leave. Sima Yue saw that the housekeeper had just returned and had not even had a sip of water before going back to work. She said, "This period of time is a little special, I'll have to trouble you." The butler shook his head. "It's my fortune to be able to work for the Sima family. Uncle Fu, thank you." The butler smiled as he walked out. He raised his head and looked in the direction that Sima Lai had left in and secretly said, "General, young master has really grown up." Sima Yue left the meeting hall and heaved a sigh of relief as she looked at the people who were busy building the Sima residence. Seeing that the compendium pavilion was still intact, she recalled her doubts and slowly walked over. Standing in front of the book collection pavilion, he recalled the first time Sima Lai had brought him here. With a thought, a key appeared in her hand. "Gotcha!" She inserted the key into the keyhole and the door opened. She pushed the door open and walked in. After a few steps, the door closed automatically. She walked around the library a few times but did not find anything special. She only found an extra box on the top floor. She opened the box and saw a model of the book collection pavilion inside. It was small and exquisite. "I didn't see this the last time I was here. Could it be that grandfather placed it here?" She took the book collection pavilion and studied it carefully. She saw a small groove at the bottom but did not know what it was used for. She put the small pagoda back and sat on the chair in a daze. Grandfather, brother. In the past, every time she returned home, she would be accompanied by her family. Now that she was the only one who could support the family, she felt that she was so happy in the past. Thinking of the ring that the old principal had given her, she took it out from the spirit pearl. Because she was too sad before, she did not realize that this was the ring that he usually wore. The spiritual energy on it had been erased, so this ring was equivalent to an ownerless ring. "Grandfather?" She inserted her spiritual energy into it and looked at Sima Lai's storage. She found that although he was a spirit emperor and a general of the Dongqin kingdom, he did not have many valuable things. Actually, Sima Lai's things were considered rich in the Dongqin kingdom. It was only because she had seen many good things in the spirit pearl that she felt that Sima Lai was shabby. She scanned the spatial ring and found a book and a sound stone in an independent corner. She took out the sound stone and inserted her spiritual energy into it. The veined patterns on the stone began to move and Sima Lai's familiar voice came out. "Yue, if you can hear this, then I should not be in the Dongqin kingdom anymore." Sima Lai's voice was slightly old and his words sounded especially heavy. "There is something that I have never told you. You are actually not of the Sima family's bloodline. Do you remember that I told you that when our family fled to the Sophia mountain range, everyone else died? In the end, I was saved by someone and brought out of the Sophia mountain range. That person was your father. I originally thought that I would never see him again. I did not expect that 10 years ago he would appear again, holding you in his arms. After he entrusted you to me, he left. He said that if you were to achieve something one day, you can use the jade pendant in the spatial ring to go to the primordial lands to find him." Sima Yue scanned the spatial ring and found that there was indeed a jade pendant placed alone. She took it out and found that the quality of the jade pendant was comparable to the one that Feng Zhixing gave her. "Grandfather has always had a bad premonition in his heart. I originally wanted to let you leave early tomorrow morning, but I don't know if I can make it in time. If something happens, the Sima family will be handed over to you. The housekeeper should be able to help you deal with it. If you can't hold on, then just disperse. That book collection pavilion is a spirit tool that I accidentally obtained. I never understood what it was used for and only used it as a book collection pavilion. Now that I hand it over to you, maybe you will be able to discover the mystery inside. There is a key in the spatial ring, you will understand when you see it. Yue, no matter what, you have to be happy. This is the biggest wish of me and your brothers. I believe that this is also the wish of your birth parents." The message ended here. Sima Yue looked at the sound stone, and at this moment, her face was already filled with tears. She felt the deep love that Sima Lai had for her. She felt his worry and also his wish for her to be safe and happy. She kept the sound stone and muttered, "Grandfather, don't worry. We will meet again. I will definitely save you." Chapter 142. She took out a box from her spatial ring. This box was the same as the one that contained the small pagoda. She recognized it at a glance. When she opened the box, there was only a small piece of metal inside. When she saw the piece of metal, she immediately thought of the small groove at the base of the small tower. She took out the small pagoda, turned it upside down, and placed the metal pieces on top of it to compare. She found that they were the same size and shape. As Sima Yue did not know the function of the metal piece, she did not hastily place the metal piece into the pagoda. Instead, she picked up the pagoda and observed it closely. "This is the 7-layer pagoda." Emo Sha's voice sounded, following which his figure slowly came out from the devil's snare bracelet. 7-story pagoda? What is it? Sima Yue asked. The 7-layered pagoda was the weapon of a powerful being in the past. After that powerful being died, his whereabouts were unknown. It was said that the 7-story pagoda had 7 floors, and each floor had a different function. But now, very few people know about this thing, and even fewer people know the use of each floor. Emo Sha glanced at the book collection pavilion and said, "I think the first floor should be the storage area." "Oh," Sima Yue replied faintly. Looking at Emo Sha, she asked, "Why didn't you come out that day?" Emo Sha knew that she was talking about the day Sima Lai was taken away, and he could also hear that she was blaming him. However, he did not plan to explain himself, and only said a few words indifferently. "You want people to know that you have connections with the Devil Clan? Or is the Sima family related to the demon race?" It was just one sentence, but it made Sima Yue swallow all the words she wanted to say. He was right. At that time, if he were to come out, then the Sima family would no longer be able to establish themselves in Dongchen country. "I understand. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have blamed you," Sima Yue said. "Actually, you also know that just leaving them here isn't the solution." Perhaps because he saw that she was in a bad mood, Emo Sha comforted her. Thinking back to when he had learned how to comfort others, it was already good enough that he didn't kill anyone. It was because of this contract that he always had some inexplicable feelings for her. Sima Yue remained silent. Just like what he had said, she knew that letting them stay was only a temporary solution. Once Sima Lin and the rest returned, they would naturally send more people over. At that time, the result would still be the same. Moreover, the fight would implicate innocent people. The best way was to clearly explain what had happened back then. Only then would Sima Lai and the others be able to live openly. "Didn't you decide to save them 3 years later? Since it's like this, instead of being sad here, it's better to seize the time to raise your own strength," Emo Sha said. "I understand," Sima Yue said. She knew that it was not the time for her to be depressed. She let out a breath and turned her attention back to the small pagoda in front of her. "Grandpa said that he doesn't know how to use this tower. Do you know?" "I know." Before Emo Sha could say anything, Little Spirit's voice sounded first. Sima Yue brought Emo Sha into the Spirit Pearl. Seeing Little Spirit and Ling Long together, she asked, "You know how to use it?" "I've heard of it." Little Spirit said, "This pagoda is a spirit weapon from a long time ago. Although it can't be compared to me, its level is not low either." Even if he was talking about others, Little Spirit would not forget to praise himself. "Then how do you use this?" Sima Yue asked. "No matter what method you use, this is useless," Little Spirit said. "But because its spirit weapon has already died." Little Spirit said, "The small pagoda that you saw is now dim and lifeless. This means that the spirit weapon is no longer here." "A spirit weapon can die?" Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit in shock. "Then you've lived for thousands and millions of years. Why haven't you died yet?" "Usually, spirit weapons will not die. However, this 7-layered pagoda's spirit weapon is very special," Little Spirit said. "In the past, I heard that this 7-story pagoda was personally refined by the owner. When he was refining it, he put his own soul into it. Later on, he died and that part of his soul slowly dissipated after a long time. This 7-layered pagoda is not like me. It can nourish the soul. Then doesn't this mean that it's useless? Sima Yue asked. That's about it. Little Spirit said, anyway, the storage function of the first floor can still be used. It's just that the upper floors cannot be opened. Is there no other way? Sima Yue was a little disappointed. This was something left behind by an ancient expert. This thing must be very powerful. Little Spirit shook his head straightforwardly. You can just use it as a space container. Sima Yue knocked Little Spirit's head and said, with your endless space, why would I need a space container? That's true. Then just throw it away. Little Spirit said. Sima Yue knocked his head again. Even if this thing could not be used, it would be good to use it as a library. AI, what a pity. Who knows, there might be treasures in the upper floors. Sima Yue said. Actually, it's not that there's no other way. Emosha said. You know. Sima Yue's originally dim eyes suddenly lit up. Even the way she looked at Emosha was different. I also don't know if it's possible. Emosha said, since it's something from the ancient era, I think it should be able to fuse with the spirit pearl. Fuse? Sima Yue and Little Spirit cried out in unison. Emosha nodded and said, this 7-layered pagoda's spirit has dissipated so it can't be used. If it fuses with the spirit pearl and reinforces the spirit, then it should be able to open the upper floors. But this requires an armament master to refine it, right? Sima Yue said, where can I go to find such an armament master? Furthermore, it's under the condition that the secret is not revealed. That's even more impossible. Have you forgotten who refined this bracelet? Emosha said. Sima Yue thought of the bracelet on her wrist and said, you're saying that you're an armament master? I know how to refine armaments. Emosha said. What's your grade? It has nothing to do with that. Anyway, it should be able to fuse the 7-layered pagoda with the spirit pearl. Again. Sima Yue glanced at him. Previously, when she asked him about his alchemy level, he was also like this. Would he die if he didn't act pretentiously? Then how do you do it? Sima Yue asked. Even if I told you, you wouldn't understand. Sima Yue stared at Emosha speechlessly. Was there anyone who looked down on her like this? This guy, he knew how to tame beasts, he knew how to refine pills, and now he was even a high-grade armament master. Everyone else thought that she was a pervert, but why did she think that this guy was the real pervert? Alright, if you don't want to say then forget it. Sima Yue said, then looked at Emosha seriously and asked, if the 7-layered pagoda and the spirit pearl are fused, will Little Spirit disappear? What if he disappears? If he does, then I'd rather give up. Little Spirit, who was at the side, heard Sima Yue's words and his body shook. Chapter 143. Little Spirit and Emosha both knew that Sima Yue loved treasures and also felt her interest towards the 7-story pagoda. However, they never thought that she would actually choose to give it up in order to protect Little Spirit. Why? Emosha looked at her, somewhat unable to understand. Even if Little Spirit disappears, a new artifact spirit will be formed. It won't affect the spirit pearl's current functions. That's different. Sima Yue hugged Little Spirit and said, Little Spirit and I have already lived together for such a long time. I have already treated him as a part of my life. Even if there is another Little Spirit after the fusion, it will not be the current him. But fusing with it might increase the spirit pearl's abilities. Emosha said, furthermore, you can obtain the treasures in the 7-layer pagoda. Aren't you curious about the upper floors? Yes, I am very curious, but I care more about the people around me. Sima Yue said, even if I don't want those things, I want Little Spirit to be well. No regrets? Emosha asked. No, I don't. Little Spirit is already very heaven-defying now. It doesn't matter if he can't improve. Sima Yue kissed Little Spirit's cheek before looking at Emosha and saying, similarly, if I had to use you to exchange for something, I wouldn't be willing either. It's not because you're powerful or knowledgeable. It's because you're you. You're someone by my side. After Sima Yue kissed Little Spirit's face for the first time, he did not reach out to wipe the saliva off his face. He buried his face in Sima Yue's embrace and felt warmth in his heart. Although his previous masters liked him very much, no one cared about him so much. They only treated him as an artifact spirit, not a living person. No wonder Linglong had chosen her. It wasn't because of her future achievements, but because she was a considerate person. Emo Sha lowered his eyelids slightly, hiding the emotions in his eyes. Had anyone ever cared about him this much before? Those people either relied on him, worshipped him, or hated him. No one had ever told him that he was him, someone by her side, and that was why she cared. Sima Yue let go of Little Spirit and picked up the small pagoda to take a look. She said with some pity, "Since it can't be opened, then it's better to leave it here as a library." "Sure." Emo Sha suddenly said. "Yeah, that's the only way." Sima Yue followed Emo Sha's words. "What I'm saying is that you can fuse without changing the weapon spirit." Emo Sha said. "I know you said it's possible. You said it's possible to merge." Sima Yue finally reacted. She turned to look at Emo Sha, her eyes shining. Emo Sha nodded his head and said, "Yes, it's just that it'll take longer." "Really? It doesn't matter if it takes a long time." Sima Yue laughed out loud. "As long as it doesn't hurt Little Spirit, it doesn't matter how long it takes." Seeing the smile on her face, Emo Sha felt that he wasn't the same as before. Not long ago, he still cared about someone's thoughts and whether or not they would be happy if he did it. Sima Yue went forward to pat him, but her hand went right through his body. "Cough cough, I forgot that you don't have a body." Sima Yue retracted her hand and said, "Since it's possible, what do I need to prepare? What do you need me to do?" "You're useless, what do I need you to do?" Emo Sha said, "I'll arrange it. You can't use the spirit pearl during this period of time." Sima Yue's earlier excitement couldn't stop her hatred towards Emo Sha. Did he have to despise her so thoroughly? "Then I'll go out and keep all the books outside. Then I'll pass them to you." Sima Yue said as she went out and kept all the books into her spatial ring. Then she picked up the 2 boxes and went out of the library. When she walked out of the door, she realized that it was already dark outside. She turned her head to look at the library and said goodbye. Then she put the 2 boxes into her soul pearl. She didn't know what Emo Sha did, but the library suddenly moved. Then it slowly faded and finally disappeared. Sima Yue was shocked by the movement. It was a good thing that it was nighttime. If it was broad daylight and people saw a house disappear into thin air, she was afraid that there would be a storm. If it disappeared tomorrow, it could be said that it was cleaned up tonight. When she returned to the house, Sima Yue called out Little Roar, Emo Sha, Yaguang and Linglong. After that, she took out a few necessary things, such as many medicinal ingredients, pills that she had refined in the past and so on. After that, she took out the spirit pearl that was as ugly as a scale and handed it over to Emo Sha. "You must not hurt Little Spirit." Sima Yue instructed again. Emo Sha didn't say anything. He glanced at Sima Yue and took the spirit pearl. Then he took the small pagoda and returned to the devil's snare bracelet. Sima Yue waited until he went in before she remembered that she had forgotten to ask him how much time he needed. If he couldn't merge successfully in 10 years, then wouldn't she be unable to use the things in the spirit pearl for 10 years? However, she thought that even if she asked, Emo Sha might not tell her. He would either ignore her or look down on her. So she thought about it and decided to forget about it. "Okay, Yaguang and Little Roar, you guys can only stay in the contract space for the rest of the time." Sima Yue said. "Yes, master." Yaguang replied straightforwardly. Little Roar came in front of Sima Yue and said, Why don't I just stay outside? The contract space is too boring. There's no point in staying inside." Sima Yue first kept Little Roar back into the contract space. Then, Yaguang obediently went in by himself. "Linglong, you can stay in the space ring for a while." Sima Yue said as she kept Linglong into the space ring. Looking at Little Rock's round eyes, Sima Yue said helplessly, "You don't have the contract space, so you can only stay outside. But don't reveal your strength in front of others, Understand? Little Rock nodded and flew to the roof. After settling these matters, the housekeeper hurriedly ran over and found her, saying, "Young master, something happened." "What happened?" Sima Yue hurriedly opened the door and asked when she heard that something had happened. "Young master, the library suddenly disappeared," the housekeeper said anxiously. When Sima Yue heard that, she relaxed and said, "That's nothing, I did it." The housekeeper was stunned. "That was a spirit tool that grandfather left behind. I just kept it." Sima Yue said, "Get someone to build another library when they're building the house." Although the housekeeper did not understand, since she said that it was nothing, he stuffed his heart back into his stomach. After the housekeeper left, Sima Yue closed the door. Thinking that she had not read the book that Sima Lai had placed together with the soundstone, she gave up on cultivating and took out the book. Raging Inferno / What book is this? Sima Yue looked at the name on the book and did not know why Sima Lai had placed this book together with the soundstone. Suddenly, she thought of the flaming broadsword that was formed when Sima Lai and Sima Kai fought. Could it be that this book was for learning that technique? Chapter 144. Sima Yue flipped open the Raging Inferno / and saw that the title page stated that it was a profound level high-rank spiritual skill. It also stated that one could not cultivate it unless they were at the Spirit King level. It's actually a high-grade profound rank spiritual skill. Sima Yue said in surprise, "But you can only practice it when you're a spiritual king, so all I can do now is watch." I didn't expect Grandpa to have a high-grade profound level spiritual skill. No wonder it was so powerful. In the beginning, spirit masters could only rely on absorbing and condensing spirit energy to compete. Now, they could only condense small fireballs or drizzle. If they wanted more power, they would have to use spirit techniques. Previously, when Feng Zhixing was teaching them, he said that spiritual techniques were divided into 4 levels: heaven, earth, black, and yellow. Each level was further divided into low level, mid-level, and high level. The power of each level of spiritual technique was as different as heaven and earth. Once a spirit master became a great spirit master, they would be able to cultivate spirit skills. The higher the level of the spirit skill, the harder it would be to cultivate it. Currently, most of the spirit skills on the continent were yellow level. High yellow level spirit skills were very rare. Of course, Feng Zhixing was only talking about the Dongqin country. To other places, the yellow rank was nothing. Generally, great spirit masters are able to cultivate spirit skills. I didn't think that this would require spirit kings to learn. It seems that cultivating this requires a lot of spirit energy, so its power should be stronger than others of the same level. When I become a spirit king, I can give it a try. Sima Yue put away the fire / and began to cultivate. Too many things had happened recently. Although Little Spirit had taken the initiative to help her cultivate so that her progress would not fall behind, there was not much progress. If she wanted to save Sima Lai and the others, she needed to have sufficient strength and a thorough plan. That Sima Lin isn't even a spirit paragon yet, but he's already so powerful. The Sima family definitely has someone even more powerful, who might even be a spirit paragon. If I want to save Grandpa and the others, I have to improve myself as soon as possible. She was currently only a level 6 spiritual master and could faintly touch the barrier of a level 7 spiritual master. However, there were still great spiritual master, spiritual king, spiritual grandmaster, and then spiritual emperor. Some people spent their entire lives to become spirit grandmasters, but she spent less than a year to become a level 6 spiritual master. She still had 3 years left. She wondered how far she would go. Time passed in the blink of an eye. She had been cultivating for 2 days. Because the big plan had been settled, no one came to disturb her these 2 days. 2 days later, the general's mansion sent out an announcement to recruit a group of people. The benefits were that if they joined, they would receive a spiritual beast personally trained by Sima Yue, as well as a number of pills for cultivation. In the future, they would receive the same treatment as the imperial bodyguards. The conditions were that they had to be at least a great spirit master and work for the Sima family for 10 years. For 10 years, they would only accept or leave. The news of Sima Yu taming the spirit beasts in front of everyone had long since spread throughout the imperial capital and the surrounding cities. Even some of the more remote places knew about this. While everyone was sighing at her abnormal talent, they were even more interested in the spirit beasts that she had tamed, thinking that it would be great if they could get their hands on one. Now that the Sima family's announcement was out, there was an endless stream of people coming to sign up. The housekeeper, who originally thought that not many people would respond, immediately became busy. On the first day, they did not reject anyone who was at least a great spirit master. On the second day, they began to filter people. Those who were too weak or had bad character were directly eliminated. Very quickly, the number of people in the Sima family doubled. The housekeeper left a portion of people to protect the Sima family, and the rest were sent to catch spiritual beasts. Very quickly, the Chu family's goods arrived. The spiritual beasts from the Beast Tamers Guild were also sent over. Coupled with Sima Yoyue's reputation, the Sima family's shop changed from its previous sluggish state. There was an endless stream of customers. Those who had designs on the Sima family all suppressed their thoughts. Whoever dared to touch the Sima family now would have to first consider whether they were able to go against the Capital Institute and the Beast Tamers Guild. Many insiders sighed. They had never seen a power develop so quickly. It had developed in just 1 or 2 months. However, thinking of Sima Yoyue's abnormal talent in refining elixirs and taming spiritual beasts, such a situation was within reason. Moreover, the Sima family had previously been unable to do certain things because of Sima Lai's status as general. Now that there were no such restrictions, they could do more. The housekeeper had originally wanted to let the people who had just entered meet Sima Yoyue, but seeing that she was in closed-door cultivation, he gave up on that idea. After a few days, Sima Yoyue felt that she was about to advance in level while cultivating. She had originally wanted to continue cultivating after coming out of closed-door cultivation. After a day, she successfully broke through to become a level 7 spiritual master. After successfully advancing in level, Sima Yoyue opened her eyes. Seeing the stars that represented her strength slowly dissipate, she sighed and said, "The speed of advancement is a little slow. But at this rate, how can I save grandfather and the rest? Looks like I have to think of another way to increase my strength." Because she had been in a cultivating position for a few days, her body was a little stiff. She got off the bed and moved around a little. When she opened the door, she was stunned. Before she went into closed-door cultivation, it was still a piece of flat land. How did it suddenly become a mansion? "Young master, you're out of closed-door cultivation." Chun Jian and Yun Yu were outside. When they heard the sound of Sima Yoyue opening the door, they smiled and welcomed her. "Chun Jian, how long have I been in closed-door cultivation?" Sima Yoyue couldn't believe her eyes. Could it be that she had been in closed-door cultivation for a long time? "Young master, you've been in closed-door cultivation for 10 days. Chun Jian replied. "It's only been 10 days. How is the house already finished?" Sima Yu asked. Yun Yu smiled and said, "Young master, ever since you publicly tamed a beast and became a beast tamer, many people came to help build the Sima residence. That's why the speed has increased by a lot. Even if that was the case, wasn't it a little too fast? Young master, your courtyard has already been tidied up. Do you want to take a look?" Chun Jian asked. "Okay." Sima Yoyue nodded. This temporary house hadn't been torn down yet because Sima Yoyue was in closed-door cultivation. However, the courtyard in front had already been tidied up. Sima Yoyue followed Chun Jian and Yun Yu to her courtyard. Because she was the only owner now, her courtyard was the main courtyard. The house was being built very quickly. However, the construction wasn't sloppy. Sima Yoyue looked around and saw that the construction of the house was not bad. The remaining decorations and gardens were still being built slowly. Sima Yoyue looked around and nodded in satisfaction. Only with a house would it feel like a home. When the housekeeper heard that Sima Yoyue had come out of closed-door cultivation, he reported to her about the past few days. He heard that the number of people in the Sima family had suddenly increased by a lot. Moreover, there were many spirit kings and spirit overlords who came. Even she was surprised by this lineup. Right now, she could only imagine how many spirit beasts she would have to tame in order to meet the requirements. However, the good thing was that taming spirit beasts was like cultivating to her. It wouldn't be too tiring and could even increase her spirit energy. Therefore, after thinking about it, she didn't think much of it. Instead, she was secretly looking forward to it. Chapter 145. After settling the family matters, Sima Yue went to school. She had not graduated yet, and the principal knew that he had given her some time off. Seeing that the Sima family was on the right track, she went back to continue her studies. In fact, for the current her, there wasn't much she could learn here, but she didn't want to give up halfway. The Sima family also needed her attention, so she didn't plan to leave for the time being. When he returned to the dormitory, Wei Ziqi and the others had already gone to class. There was not a single person in the dormitory. Thinking back to the last time he was here, he was still a young master who did not need to consider anything. The next time he was here, he had already become the head of the family. I'm sure no one has ever seen the head of the household come to school. After tidying up the house, it was already noon. Remembering that she hadn't eaten for a long time, she also wanted to thank everyone for their concern and help during this period of time, so she went to the kitchen to cook a few dishes. I knew it. Just by smelling this fragrance, I knew that Yue had returned. Fatty Chu's voice could be heard even before he arrived. His nose had always been very sensitive when it came to food. The four of them went to the kitchen and saw Sima Yue sitting at the table waiting for them. They walked over and sat down to eat. Have you settled the matter? Wei Ziqi asked. Everything is almost on track. The rest will need to be done slowly. Sima Yue said that the most important thing now was to tame the hundreds of spirit beasts. However, the spirit beasts had not arrived yet, so she did not have to rush. The speed at which your house was being built really blinded our eyes. We haven't gone out for a few days, and when we went out yesterday, we discovered that your house had already been built. Fatty Chu picked up a piece of meat and placed it in his mouth as he spoke. Let's not talk about you guys. Even I was shocked. Sima Yue said, I went into seclusion for a few days. When I came out, I saw that the flat ground had turned into a courtyard. It was horrifying. I didn't know that houses could be repaired so quickly. I heard that it was because there were many people working together, that's why it was so fast. Wei Ziqi said, this is also good. You've recruited so many new people, so you need a place to make arrangements. Sima Yue nodded and asked, how have you been? The academy is pretty much the same as before, but now when we walk in the academy, we often meet some girls who come looking for us. Extremely annoying. Wei Ziqi said. Sima Yue blinked. Could it be that both of you are in love? Did someone confess to you? It's not that our peach blossoms have blossomed, it's your peach blossoms that have blossomed. Fatty Chu said, those people didn't come to find us, they came to find you. Every time you look for us, it's to ask when you're coming to the academy, what you like, and what kind of girls you like. Seriously, you're obviously a girl, why are you so popular with women? Sima Yue was speechless as she watched Fatty Chu grumble. She never thought that she would become a celebrity in the academy. Yes, he was also famous in the past. However, he was famous for being trash in the past. Now, he was famous for being a genius. You don't know how ferocious those girls are. In order to get news about you, they really do whatever it takes. Wei Ziqi was a little scared as he spoke. Ouyang and Bei Gong are still all right. One is an ice mountain, while the other is a girl. Others don't dare to get close to them, but Fatty Chu and I are miserable. We've helped you collect a bunch of love letters. Do you want to read them? No. Sima Yue quickly shook her head. She didn't want to read those boring things. You don't have to care about those people. Bei Gong Tang said, as long as you don't care, they won't bother you. I know. Sima Yue said. All right, Yue, do you plan to continue studying in the academy? How are you going to manage your family's matters? Fatty Chu asked. I've already handed the matters over to Uncle Fu and the others to handle. I just have to go home once every few days. If anything happens at home, I'll take leave from the academy. Anyway, this semester isn't long. When this semester ends, I'll apply to graduate. You're graduating? Sima Yue replied, in these 3 years, I have to go somewhere else to raise my strength. Here in the academy, it's too slow to raise my strength. Wei Ziqi and the others all knew about her 3-year promise, so they knew the pressure she was currently shouldering. Then what about the Sima family's matters? Wei Ziqi asked. A few months' time is enough for us to consolidate our power. When the time comes, we'll hand the matters over to Uncle Fu and the others to handle. I'll get people to send the things we need over regularly. Sima Yue said. Where do you plan to go? Bei Gongtang asked. Sima Yue was silent for a while before saying, I'll go to Sophia Mountain Range. I'll go there to gain experience and then directly leave from there. Didn't you say that there's a barrier? How are you going to leave? Fatty Chu asked. Little Roar said that those arrays and whatnot are useless. Sima Yue said, when the time comes, I'll get him to open the barrier. Ouyang Fei furrowed his eyebrows and said, the spirit beasts in Sophia Mountain Range are much stronger than Pu Luo Mountain Range. If you go there, won't it be too dangerous? Danger makes people grow faster. Sima Yue said, I believe that danger can develop a person's potential and raise their strength. All right, if you stay in the academy, your strength will indeed increase a little slower. It's better to go outside. Bei Gongtang said. That's right. Sima Yue gave a thought and took out 4 jade bottles, handing them over to the 4 of them, saying, these are the things that I promised you. Everyone received the jade bottles and opened them. Seeing that there were 2 pills inside, they asked, what pill is this? 100 Revolutions pill. Sima Yue said. When Bei Gongtang heard the name of the 100 Revolutions pill, her eyes lit up, asking, is this really the 100 Revolutions pill? Sima Yue said, I originally wanted to refine other pills, but the person who refined the pill for me said that the 100 Revolutions pill was a little better, so I refined this. But I already took a golden snake fruit. This doesn't belong to me. Bei Gongtang said. Don't be so calculative. That golden snake fruit was for Meng Ji, and this 100 Revolutions pill is for you. I think that Ziqi and the others won't have any objections. Furthermore, you also need this. Sima Yue said. Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yue and the corner of her mouth lifted slightly, saying, thank you, Yue. It was rare for Wei Ziqi and the others to see Bei Gongtang so interested in a pill, so they were also curious about the 100 Revolutions pill. Yue, what kind of pill is this 100 Revolutions pill? Fatty Chu took the pill and wanted to stuff it into his mouth, but was pulled back by Sima Yue, saying, you don't even know what it is. Aren't you afraid that it's poison? Heh, didn't you say that it's a pill that increases my strength? Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue glared at Fatty Chu. This guy was just focused on eating and didn't even listen to what she said. Chapter 146. Fatty Chu saw that everyone was looking at him with disdain and coughed twice before saying, didn't you say that you were going to refine pills for us to raise our cultivation? Why, this isn't it. Sima Yue smacked Fatty Chu's head, not wanting to talk to him anymore. Bei Gong, you know about the 100 Revolutions pill? Ouyang Fei asked. Yeah. Bei Gongtang said, I've heard people talk about it before, but I've never seen it before. What kind of pill is this? Wei Ziqi asked. The 100 Revolutions pill. It's also known as the tendon and marrow cleansing pill. You'll know what it does when you hear its name. Bei Gongtang said. Tendon and marrow cleansing pill. Ouyang Fei and the other 2 cried out at the same time. They didn't know what the 100 Revolutions pill was, but they knew what the tendon and marrow cleansing pill was. Yes, the effect of this pill is to cleanse your muscles and marrow, changing your physique and increasing the speed of your cultivation. Sima Yue said. Oh my god, where did you get this pill from? Fatty Chu patted his chest, obviously scared out of his wits. Coincidentally, that person knew this pill formula and coincidentally used the golden snake fruit. He thought that this pill would be better in the long run, so he refined this. Sima Yue explained, but I've never tried it before, so you can give it to me. Actually, this can also increase your strength. Bei Gongtang said. This can increase one's strength? He didn't tell me. Sima Yue was surprised. Maybe in that person's eyes, this increase in strength is nothing compared to long-term cultivation. Bei Gongtang said, when the waste in the body is expelled, one's strength will increase. I've seen someone take it once, so I know that. But at that time she only ate one. Bei Gongtang's expression wasn't too good when she said this. It seemed like the person who took the pill didn't have a good relationship with her. That person said that each person can only take 2 of these pills at most. More than that won't have any effect, so I prepared 2 pills for each of you. Sima Yue said, you can take them when you have the time. Yue, don't you have one? Wei Ziqi asked. This pill is useless to me. Sima Yue said, due to some fortuitous encounters, my body has already been forged. Even if I eat this, it's useless. Why don't you all take it together? I can also protect you. Then let's do it tonight. Yang Fei said. He really wanted to know what they would be like after their meridians and marrow cleansing. Bei Gongtang and the others nodded, agreeing to Ouyang Fei's suggestion. They were also curious about the 100 revolutions pill. The process is a little painful, but you definitely can't faint. Otherwise, it will affect the effects of the pill. Bei Gongtang reminded. She remembered that when those people gave the 100 revolutions pill to that woman, she couldn't take it and fainted. Later on, she heard from her family that the effects weren't very good. Yes, we will. Fatty Chu nodded. Thus, in the afternoon, Wei Ziqi and the others cultivated in their own houses, allowing their mental states to reach their peak. When it was late at night, they all opened their eyes at the same time. The 4 of them opened the door and confirmed that they were ready. They greeted Sima Yue in the courtyard and went back to their own houses. Tonight, they only needed to eat 100 revolutions pill. However, it was said that different people with different innate talents would have different effects. The amount of time needed would also be different. Sima Yue waited in the courtyard. She heard painful groans from the house and didn't know what they were going through. After a while, Fatty Chu was the first to run out of the house. He dashed towards the toilet. Next, Wei Ziqi ran out, followed by Ouyang Fei and Bei Gongtang. Sima Yue watched as the 4 of them ran to the toilet, then ran back to the house. After a while, they ran to the toilet again, then back to the house and ran to the toilet again. Each of them went 7 or 8 times. Emo Sha didn't add croton to the pills. Why are they all having diarrhea? Sima Yue sat in the courtyard and watched them run around. She was happy. However, towards the end, she couldn't be happy anymore. This was because every person who passed by her had a disgusting smell. She would smell it every time they passed by. I can't take it anymore. Little Peng on her shoulder wailed. He flapped his wings and flew to the roof. Sima Yue also moved the stool further away. The smell was really too disgusting. Towards the end, the interval between their runs to the toilet became longer. The 4 of them ran back and forth until the middle of the night. After that, the light of their advancement lit up their houses. 3 times, 3 times, 2 times, 3 times. The others all advanced 3 levels. Only Fatty has advanced 2 levels. However, it's still not bad. Sima Yue counted the number of times they advanced. She realized that they were all very talented and had advanced quite a bit. When the sky started to brighten, Fatty Chu came out of the house first. Yue-ha, I advanced 2 levels. Did you see that? Seeing Sima Yue, Fatty Chu ran over excitedly. He reached out to hug her, but she blocked him with a kick. Sima Yue pinched her nose and said, I saw that you advanced 2 levels. Don't be too excited. Go and clean yourself up first. Fatty Chu looked down and realized that his body was covered in filth. It was black and covered his entire body. It even emitted a disgusting smell. Only then did he regain his senses from the excitement of advancing. He hurriedly ran to take a bath. Soon after, Wei Ziqi also came out. However, he didn't run over. Instead, he went to take a bath. Ouyang Fei was next. He also went to take a bath. There was only 1 bath in the dormitory. Because Fatty Chu and the others had snatched it first, Bei Gong Tang couldn't take a bath when she came out. Bei Gong, I've prepared some water for you. You can go to the toilet and take a bath first. If it's not enough, I'll add more water for you. Sima Yue called out to Bei Gong Tang. Sima Yue saw the 2 wooden buckets behind Sima Yue. She didn't even have time to thank her before she filled the buckets and went to the toilet. She couldn't stand the smell on her body any longer. Sima Yue didn't think that Bei Gong Tang would use 6 whole buckets of water. She didn't know how much filth they had excreted. Thinking about how the few of them who loved to be clean were covered in filth, she couldn't help but shudder. When everyone had finished cleaning up, the sky was already bright. Everyone was still sniffing their bodies to see if there was any stench left. They didn't know if it was a psychological effect, but everyone still felt that there was a smell on their bodies. Yue, can you smell if there's any smell on our bodies? Fatty Chu came over and said. Sima Yue kicked him away and said, My nose has already been affected by your smell last night. Don't come near me today. Do you have to be so disgusted? Fatty Chu stood a meter away from her with a face full of grievance. Chapter 147. So what if I despise you? Sima Yue looked at his little wife's aggrieved expression and wanted to tease him. What else can I do? I can't beat you in a fight, I can't scold you, I can't bite you, right? Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue looked at him and smiled happily. I didn't think that the 100 revolutions pill would be so effective. I feel that my body is much more relaxed now. It's not as heavy as before. Wei Ziqi said. Of course, you excreted so much filth last night and even pooped so much. It would be weird if it wasn't light. Fatty Chu said. Oh right, how many levels did you guys go up? 3rd level. 3rd level. 3rd level. The 3 of them replied at the same time. What? You all went up by 3 levels. Fatty Chu cried out in surprise. Why am I the only one who went up by 2 levels? Sob sob. I originally thought that it was already pretty good that I went up by 2 levels. Turns out I'm still the one who dropped the tail. Ouyang Fei came over and patted his shoulder, sincerely saying, My condolences. Then he walked past him and left. Sima Yue and Wei Ziqi burst out laughing. They never knew that Ouyang Fei had this side to him. Fatty, I think it's because you usually eat too much and there's too much waste in your body. That's why it's stopping you from advancing. Sima Yue said seriously, Look, you went to the toilet the most last night. Your body stinks the most. That's why you have to avoid certain foods and eat less, understand? After she finished speaking, she turned and left. I think that Yue is right. Wei Ziqi patted Fatty Chu's shoulder and walked past him. Bei Gong Tang walked over with a smile in her eyes and said faintly, Eat less. Then she also walked away. You guys can't bully people like that. Fatty Chu was teased by everyone and chased after them with a stifled heart. On the way to the classroom, those people saw Sima Yue appear and ran over to take a look. But because they saw her cold expression, they all stopped and no one went up to hit on her. When they were about to reach the classroom, a girl finally gathered the courage to confess to her. Yue, this is a little gift I prepared for you. Please accept it. Sima Yue took the box and said calmly, Thank you. When the girl saw that Sima Yue did not reject her gift, she was extremely excited and said, Yue, I like you. Can I be your girlfriend? Girlfriend? Sima Yue did not think that this girl would be so open-minded. She pulled Bei Gong Tang over and kissed her on the cheek, saying, But I already have a girlfriend. If you want to climb up, you have to defeat her first. That girl glanced at Bei Gong Tang and saw that she was glaring at her unkindly. She felt her hair stand on end. Who in the academy didn't know that Bei Gong Tang was a battle maniac? She was strong and liked to fight. Many people went to challenge her and were beaten to the ground by her. She was a weak girl and also a love rival. She was afraid that she would be beaten to a pulp by her. Ahem, since you have a girlfriend, then I won't disturb you. The girl turned around and ran away. Sima Yue looked at the people around her and hugged Bei Gong Tang's shoulder as they went to the classroom. When they returned to the classroom, the students looked at Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang in a different light. It was no wonder that Bei Gong Tang had a cold expression towards everyone except for Sima Yuyu. It turned out that they were already a couple. Sitting in her seat, Bei Gong Tang slapped Sima Yuyue's hand away and said, "Next time, you have to pay me for my help." "Hee, why do you have to pay me? Why don't you just follow me and be my girlfriend?" Sima Yue said with a smile. Bei Gong Tang glared at Sima Yue. Could it be that this girl's heart was a little perverted from pretending to be a man? Thus, everyone knew that Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang were a couple. Whoever wanted to be her girlfriend would have to fight with Bei Gong Tang first. Although it broke the hearts of many girls, at least no one came to disturb her and Wei Ziqi. At night, Sima Yue protected them again as the four of them ate the second 100 revolutions pill. Because they had already removed most of the impurities in their bodies yesterday, they did not run to the toilet as often as last night. Of course, there was one exception. Sima Yue sat in the courtyard and saw Fatty Chu come out to have diarrhea again. She laughed and teased, "Fatty, I already said that you usually eat too much. Look, you're the only one who keeps running to the toilet. This shows that there's still a lot of impurities in your body." Fatty Chu stared speechlessly at Sima Yue and quickly ran to the toilet. However, Fatty Chu's diarrhea had its benefits. Tonight, no one else advanced in rank, but he alone advanced by a level. On the second day, when he said that he had advanced in rank, he was extremely happy. Although he was late by a night, at least his talent was about the same as theirs. After eating the 100 revolutions pill, the impurities in their bodies were removed. Their meridians were much smoother than before and they were much wider. Their cultivation speed was much faster than before. Seeing their changes, she thought of the 100 revolutions pill that she had prepared for Sima Yue and the others. Her eyes were slightly downcast. The days that followed slowly went on the right track. When she was in the sect, she mainly studied and cultivated. She would go back to the clan when she had something to do. The spirit beasts that she had promised to those people were also in place. She studied in the sect during the day and went home at night to tame the beasts, cultivate and settle the clan's affairs. After 2 months passed like this, Sima Yue finished her studies and applied to graduate from the sect. When she received her graduation certificate, she thought of Sima Lai's original intention of sending her to the sect. He did not want her to achieve any results in the sect. He just felt that she had to experience what others experienced. When she packed her things and left the dormitory, Fatty Chu and the others came to send her off. Thinking that she would not be in the dormitory in the future, everyone's eyes were filled with reluctance. When she returned to the Sima family, Sima Yue arranged everything properly. She refined pills for a few days consecutively. She refined everything that she needed for a period of time and tamed the spirit beasts. She also got the steward to prepare to recruit alchemists and beast tamers. If she was not around, the supply would not be cut off. The steward knew that once Sima Yue left, he did not know when she would return. He took note of everything that she said. A few days later, she handed an interspatial ring to the steward. After that, she packed her things and walked towards Sophia Mountain. Because the imperial capital did not have a teleportation array directly to Sophia Mountain, she could only sit on Yaguang to go to a nearby city. Just as she stepped out of the city gates, she was stunned. Under a big tree outside the city, Fatty Chu was sitting under the tree. Wei Ziqi was leaning against the tree trunk. Bei Gong Tang was standing in front and Ouyang Fei was hugging his sword and sitting on a branch above. "What are you guys doing here?" Sima Yue looked at the four of them in shock. Chapter 148. How is it? I told you that she would walk here. Fatty Chu said proudly. Sima Yue walked over and said, "Aren't you supposed to be on a mission? Why are you here?" Ouyang Fei jumped down from the tree and said, "We just applied for graduation. We are no longer students." "You guys have graduated?" "We felt that we wouldn't be able to learn anything more in the academy, so we applied to graduate," Bei Gong Tang said. "As for me, I've already discussed it with my clan. I want to go with you and try it out." Fatty Chu said, "So, I'll be following you from now on. You have to bring me along." "Follow me?" "Right, I'll follow you." Fatty Chu said. You should know that I don't plan to come back from Sophia Mountain Range this time. I will train in the mountains for 2 years before going outside. If I don't do well, I might die outside. Sima Yue shook her head, not wanting Fatty Chu to follow her. Anyway, I've already told my family. They also know that I might not be coming back. But it's better to go out than to stay in this small place of exile. I also want to see the outside world. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue was speechless and turned her gaze towards Wei Ziqi. Wei Ziqi shrugged his shoulders. I have also returned home. Originally, my parents did not allow me to leave, but my uncle said that going outside is better than staying here. Furthermore, following you, I will definitely be able to go further. Even if I have to give up my life for this, it would be worth it. She didn't expect him to have the same intention. Sima Yue looked at Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei. The former said, Anyway, I won't be staying here forever. I still have my revenge. Since I have to leave sooner or later, I might as well go with you guys. Anyway, you guys were the ones who taught me teamwork. There was no need to mention Ouyang Fei. He used to be a citizen of the South Yu Kingdom. No one knew what he had experienced before, but he had escaped here. But one day he would have to return. Have you really thought it through? Sima Yue looked at them. Especially Ziqi and Fatty. Once we leave, it will be very difficult for us to return. I've thought it through. Let's go. Fatty Chu dragged his round body and climbed onto Ye Guang's back. Sima Yue grabbed him by the collar and threw him down. Go sit on your own spirit beast, don't press down on Ye Guang. Fatty Chu knew that Sima Yue's words meant that she had agreed, so he called out his spirit beast and sat on it. Wei Ziqi and the others also called out their own spirit beasts, and the 5 of them rode their contracted beasts towards the city in front of them, taking the teleportation array there to the Sophia Mountain Range. 2 days later, they arrived at the foot of the Sophia Mountain Range. Looking at the towering mountain, they all had a feeling of looking up. Ouyang, are you sure the environment here is the best? Fatty Chu looked at the many steep cliffs and looked suspiciously at Ouyang Fei. Because the 5 of them were strong, they decided to find a place with a better environment where the spirit beasts were weaker and gradually improve their strength. Because Ouyang Fei had stayed in the Sophia Mountain Range for a period of time before going to the imperial capital, Ouyang Fei led them into the mountain. Ouyang Fei glanced at Fatty Chu and said indifferently, Why don't you do it? Fatty Chu quickly waved his hands. What a joke, he had never been to this place before, how could he lead the way for everyone? Ouyang, is this the place you came from? Sima Yue asked. Yes, the 4 great empires are on the other side of the mountain range. However, this mountain range is over 1,000 li wide. The closer to the center, the higher the level of the spirit beasts. There are many spirit beasts here. Ouyang Fei said. It's so dangerous. Ouyang, how did you come in? Fatty Chu looked at Ouyang Fei with admiration. In order to protect me, many people died. Ouyang Fei was unwilling to say more and changed the topic. Let's rest at the foot of the mountain tonight and check if we have everything. We will enter the mountain tomorrow. All right, let's set up camp at the foot of the mountain. Sima Yue said. The few of them found an empty space and took out their tents, starting to set them up. There are traces of people staying here. Fatty Chu shouted when he saw the nail marks on the tents. There are definitely more treasures in this mountain than in Pu Luo Mountain Range. There are definitely many people who want to enter the mountain to hunt for treasures. It's just that their strength is not high enough, so there are few people who enter the mountain. However, it's not like there aren't any. Wei Ziqi said, if our strength was high enough, we would also choose to enter here instead of Pu Luo Mountain Range. Fatty Chu thought that it was true. There were many people who went to Pu Luo Mountain Range, so there were relatively few precious things. They might as well try their luck here. Furthermore, those who are strong are more willing to come here to gain experience. Sima Yue added. Fatty Chu, when we go outside, we will see many things that we haven't seen before. If you make a fuss about everything, we won't recognize you when we go out. How embarrassing! Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. Bei Gong, you're still cuter than the ice beauty from before. Fatty Chu grumbled when he heard the ridicule in Bei Gong Tang's words. After setting up the tents, Sima Yue made dinner for everyone. Because the spirit pearl could not be used yet, she prepared some vegetables and placed them in her interspatial ring. Furthermore, they were all vegetables and did not have any meat. After eating dinner, everyone returned to their own tents to cultivate. They realized that the spirit chi here was denser than other places. If they cultivated here, their strength would increase even faster. Sima Yue sat on the bed and looked at the devil's snare bracelet. Ever since Mo Sha took the spirit pearl and the 7-layered pagoda and entered 3 months ago, there had been no news of him. There was not even the slightest bit of movement. She did not know how they were doing inside, did not know how the spirit pearl and the 7-layered pagoda were fusing together, and how Mo Sha was doing now. However, every night, she would still take out the golden snake fruit tree and place it beside her hand, letting it near the bracelet. This was because she realized that Mo Sha seemed to still be absorbing the spirit chi emitted by the golden snake fruit tree. Sighing in her heart, she took out the golden snake fruit tree and placed it beside her bed. Because it could only be placed in her interspatial ring during the day and could only be taken out at night to breathe, its current condition was extremely bad. She had specially opened a hole in her tent to allow the moonlight to shine in. Every night, the golden snake fruit tree would only recover a little after the moonlight shone in. If this continues, I can only plant you back into nature. Sima Yue helplessly and painfully looked at the golden snake fruit tree. Many of the leaves on it had already withered and turned yellow. Mo Sha, how much longer do you need to complete it? Sigh. She sat cross-legged on the bed and once again entered her cultivation mode. In these 2 months, because she had tamed many spirit beasts, she had received quite a bit of spirit chi. Adding on the fact that she had increased the amount of time she spent cultivating, she had advanced to an 8th-level spirit master in a little more than a month. When she left the imperial capital, she had already faintly touched the barrier to the 9th level. Chapter 149. After cultivating for a night, she woke up early the next morning and sighed as she kept the golden snake fruit tree back into her spatial ring. Long Teng, after tidying up the tents, the others also got up. After a simple wash-up, everyone started to head towards the mountains. Along the way, they saw quite a few precious medicinal ingredients. Even if people passed by, they did not pick them. Those that were treated as treasures in the outside world were now completely abandoned here. Because they were not here to search for treasures, after sighing for a while, they continued to walk up. Their goal was to find spirit beasts to train and increase their strength, not to pick medicinal ingredients. After walking for half a day, they did not see a single spirit beast. Everyone's tense nerves began to relax. We haven't seen any spirit beasts for so long. This place is not as scary as the rumors say. Fatty Chu said. Fatty Chu had not finished speaking when a spirit beast's roar rang out. Very quickly, a fanged boar groaned as it appeared in front of everyone. Damn, this is a high-level spirit beast? A fanged boar can also grow to this level. Fatty Chu saw that the fanged boar did not give him any face and rolled up his sleeves, preparing to fight it out. The fanged boar outside that can grow to the 5th or 6th level is already not bad. This fanged boar actually grew to the 8th level. It's really mysterious. Wei Ziqi said. The spiritual chi here is much denser than in other places, so the spirit beast levels are much higher. Yang Fei said. This place is only near the outside world and it already has such dense spiritual chi. Then how dense is the spiritual chi in the outside world? Fatty Chu sighed. That's a density that you can't even imagine. Yang Fei said, once you go outside, you won't want to cultivate in this place anymore. Is it that exaggerated? Fatty Chu's eyes widened. The people here and outside have similar innate talents. Why is it that when compared to people of the same age, the strength of those people is higher by a few levels? It's because the spiritual chi outside is so dense that it shortens the cultivation time. Yang Fei said, it's that good. Then when we go out, will our strength also increase quickly? It's not just fast, it should be extremely fast. Yang Fei said, our talents are also very powerful outside. If we continue to live in that kind of environment, I think everyone's speed of advancement will be very fast. When the fanged boar saw that not only was it scared, but it was also talking and laughing, it was enraged and charged towards Fatty Chu, who was laughing the most happily. F***ck, you know that I'm the weakest, so you attacked me. If I don't show you my power, do you think I'm a sick cat? Fatty Chu roared and raised his fist to meet the fanged boar. Spirit beasts had thick skin and could withstand beatings. Seeing Fatty Chu go up like that, Sima Yue was worried that he would be injured and wanted to help, but was stopped by Bei Gong Tang. Fatty's battle prowess isn't what it looks like. It'll be fine. Sima Yue knew that they were often together, and Bei Gong Tang should know better than her. If they were not anxious, then Fatty Chu should not have any problems either. Fatty ran towards the fanged boar. Just as the man and the beast were about to collide, Fatty's fat body nimbly dodged to the side of the fanged boar and viciously punched it in the head. Ong dash, that punch landed right on the fanged boar's eye, causing it to cry out in pain. It turned around and charged towards Fatty Chu once again. This time, Fatty Chu did not dodge to the side. He stretched out both hands to grab the fanged boar's head and quickly retreated backwards. After retreating 20 to 30 steps, he stopped and his body sank, not retreating any further. Ha dash, Fatty Chu roared loudly, grabbing the fanged boar's tusks and flung it to the side. The fanged boar's fat body was actually moved by him. TSK, this fatty's strength has improved. Sima Yue saw that Fatty Chu actually chose to fight with the fanged boar and was not at a disadvantage, and exclaimed in surprise. Fatty Chu had previously obtained a book on training his body from his clan. After that, he started training his body. Wei Ziqi said, "Then why haven't I seen him slim down?" Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu's body. If they had not said anything, she really would not have been able to tell that Fatty Chu was training his body. When Fatty Chu, who was fighting with the fanged boar, heard Sima Yue's words, he almost could not catch his breath and threw the fanged boar away. Cough cough, I won't say any more. You can continue. Sima Yue saw that her words had affected him and coughed twice, saying this. Fatty Chu glared at Sima Yue and saw that the fanged boar was running towards him. His body rolled to the side, avoiding the fanged boar's hooves. The fanged boar moved its hooves away and stomped a hole in the ground. Fatty Chu saw the hole and thought that it was a good thing that he had avoided it. Otherwise, he would have been turned into minced meat. Damn it, you actually used such a vicious kick? Grandpa, I will definitely roast your hooves and eat them today. After he finished speaking, he flipped himself up from the ground and pounced towards the fanged boar. He circled to the side and with a leap, he sat on the fanged boar's back. 1 punch. Who asked you to hit Grandpa? 2 punches. Who asked you to step on Grandpa? 3 punches. I'll smash your pig head. 4 punches. I'll break your tusks. 5 punches. Seeing Fatty Chu land punch after punch on the fanged boar's body and hearing him say a sentence with every punch, Sima Yue and the others could not help but twitch their mouths. They really felt sorry for his hand. They did not know if it would be very painful to hit that thick skin. Ong dash, the fanged boar was in pain and was furious. It kept twisting its body, wanting to throw him off. Fatty Chu lowered his body and directly sprawled on the fanged boar's back. No matter how it moved, it was unable to throw him off. He even punched its head and stomach from time to time. Sima Yue saw this scene and muttered, "Why do I feel an indescribable sense of familiarity? The last time when you were fighting with the acacia silk snake, didn't you use a frying pan to hug it tightly?" Bei Gong Tang said. And now that she thought about it, she did the same thing at that time. No wonder she felt that it was familiar. But couldn't she just say that she was fighting with the acacia silk snake? Why did she have to add that she was holding a frying pan? She did not know that the image of her holding a frying pan to save people had left a deep impression on them. It made them want to take it out from time to time to reminisce about it. Although the situation at that time was rather dangerous, that frying pan still mercilessly entertained them. Fatty Chu and the fanged boar fought for close to an hour. In the end, Fatty Chu's head exploded with a punch. The fanged boar fell to the ground. He was also paralyzed on the ground and did not want to move at all. During the fight, Sima Yue and the others watched from the side. They only walked over when he won. Seeing the brain that flowed out, Sima Yue curled her lips and said, "This is good stuff. You actually wasted it like that." Fatty Chu lay on the ground and looked at Sima Yue and said, "Yue, I want to eat roasted pig trotters. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.